deliver the results that you promised because they're starting to see those results, and it's been achievable. And so they have a lot of belief and a lot of trust in you as the expert in being able to help them. And that's why it's a great model to get people in and sell them a service or a coaching program or something like that. So let's talk about that for a minute. Let's hop in the chat. Let me know what your business is and what your challenge is going to be. And if you're not sure, just say, hey, I'm not sure. Here's what my business is all about, but I'm not sure what my challenge is actually going to be. So if you're just joining us, hop in the chat, introduce yourself, let us know where you're from, and let's talk about your particular challenge. What is your challenge going to be? Okay. All right, let's see. I see a lot of discussion about the weather. Yeah, Veronica, I'm with you. Veronica's in California also, says it's 50 and I'm under a blanket. Yeah, that's how we've been the last couple of weeks, just huddled up under the blankets. And people from the Midwest might think that we're nuts because, it has been, like I said, in the lows have been in the 40s, but during the day it's, probably in the 60s. But to us, that's really cold. Okay, Veronica says, working on a 5-day challenge for jumpstarting creative productivity. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're addressing a very clear problem that your audience has and that you have a very clear solution. So think about that lose 30 pounds in 30 days type of model. There's a very clear problem that you're addressing. So people who are trying to lose weight, maybe they're struggling to lose weight. And then you've got a very clear outcome, which is lose 30 pounds. And that's something that they want. So Jack is talking about doing a paralegal training challenge. Okay. So again, let's distill that. What is the actual challenge? What is the outcome that they're going to get in 5 days? Right? If you just say, hey, I'm doing a paralegal training challenge, you might not get as many people signing up for it because guess what? They don't know what they're getting. So let's get clear on that. So Veronica and Jack, Brett says, CRM automation, not sure of my challenge at this stage. So all three of you who have commented so far, go ahead and try and get a little more specific about the challenge. Now, you don't have to nail this down right now, right? You don't have to, whatever you type in the chat is not written in stone. You can change it later. But this exercise of trying to nail down the benefit or the solution for the problem that your customers are having is a really good exercise. So let's work on that. All right, Roxanne says, get your group sales website up in 5 days. Great. I love it. See, that is very specific. I don't know exactly what Roxanne's business is, but I know that if I'm in the business of doing group sales and I've been trying to get a website up and I've been struggling to do that, and it feels like this big, massive, heavy project, and I don't know really where to start, and I wish I could just hire it out, but maybe I don't have the cash to do it. I feel like I could join Roxanne's 5-day challenge. She's going to walk me through it. And by the end of that, I'll have my group sales website set up. So great. I love it, Roxanne. That's a great example of something very specific, addressing a very specific need. All right, Sam, welcome, Sam. Sam says her challenge is get your most important projects done in just 15 minutes today or something like that. I love it. So again, that's very specific. And many of you are just joining us now. So if you're just joining us, we're just brainstorming 5-day challenge ideas. I'm trying to help you a little bit with the strategy. During our training today, we are going to work mostly on the technical building, but I want to make sure that you're clear on what you're building. So we'll address strategy just a little bit. So I want you to hop in the chat, introduce yourself, say hi, tell us where you're from, but most importantly, tell us what your challenge is. So Sam's challenge is get your most important projects done in just 15 minutes a day. I love this because if you're the type of person who has a struggle every day getting all of the things done that you need to get done. Now, most of us on this call are entrepreneurs, and this is very, very classic entrepreneur behavior. We have a long list of to-dos. You get working on that, and then you check your email. And some client has emailed you with some urgent thing, and you jump on that. And then the kids need to get picked up from school, and then this happens, and then that happens, and a million things take up your day. You get to the end of the day, and sure enough, you go back and look at that list, and those big important things are still sitting there. So what Sam is talking about is very commonplace for entrepreneurs and for a lot of other very productive type of people, that they feel deflated on most days because they get to the end of the day and those most important things aren't done. And so she's promising to help you get those things done in just 15 minutes a day. Beautiful. I love it. Okay. All right. Jason says, Jason from North Carolina, I'd like to create a 5-day challenge to help business owners to create businesses that can run without them so they can get their life back. Okay, great. So again, distill that down, Jason. What is the very clear problem that you're solving or the very clear promise that you're offering in your 5-day challenge? Again, this is not set in stone, but the more you can kind of think about that, work on it right now, the better off you're going to be. Okay. Veronica says, going to start a brainstorm thread in Asana for this. Yes, great idea. Awesome. Great. All right, let's just continue brainstorming here for a couple more minutes as people are starting to log on. We're getting a few latecomers, and that's fine. So if you're just joining us, say hi in the chat. Let's get going in the chat with your 5-day challenge idea. I want to talk about your challenge ideas. Make sure you're clear. When I first asked the question 10 minutes or so ago, we had a few answers coming through that were kind of vague, right? And we want to get away from the vagueness. In any kind of marketing, we want to make sure that we're crystal clear, that we're talking to a very specific audience about a very specific problem, and we're offering a very specific solution. If you can do that, then you're going to have great success with whatever marketing it is. In this case, you're offering a 5-day challenge. People will not sign up for your 5-day challenge because guess what? It's a big commitment. If they're going to attend all the sessions, all 5 days, it's a big commitment, and they will not commit to that if they're not sure about the value that they're going to get. And the way that you help them be sure about the value is you be very explicit, very clear about here is what you're going to get. Okay. So Brett says, how about create your customer journey? Okay. What if I don't know what a customer journey is, Brett? That's one challenge with that. Give me a timeline, create your customer journey in just 5 days. Okay. That gets a little bit better. But what if I don't know what a customer journey is? Then that might be a challenge. All right. Barbara says, I'm wanting to have a once a week accountability session for 5 weeks to our current clients to get them to re-engage and set their professional top 3 goals. Great. So that's a little bit different. It's a 5-week challenge versus a 5-day challenge. Not a problem there. Just change the timers in the campaign. So logistically, that's easy. Again, though, can you keep people engaged for 5 weeks? I don't know. All right. Okay. Sean says we have a solid SEO strategy to help businesses get in the top 5 spots on their most important keywords. So I'm not an SEO expert, but I've been around long enough to know that you probably can't make massive improvements within 5 days. So you may not be able to promise, hey, get, rank in the top 5 within 5 days, but you might be able to promise that you can help them build out the strategy that will get there within 5 days or something like that, right? Jack says, get hands-on job training in the paralegal field. Okay, that's not so much a challenge, right? You're just offering training. So what is the result? Again, let's focus on the result. What is the result that you're going to get when you join Jack's challenge? I'm not sure yet. I see that I'm going to get training, but what's the result? I need to know what the result of training is. A lot of training is worthless, truthfully, right? Yeah, I get a bunch of knowledge, but am I better off for it? Yeah, maybe not. All right, John says 5 days to getting your new business compliant with the IRS. There we go. Very specific outcome, right? One of the problems that we have is being compliant with the IRS. In 5 days, in these 5 sessions, you're going to help me do that. Great. I love it. Okay. All right. This is great. We could brainstorm this stuff all day long, and I would love to because it's a lot of fun. But we want to get into the actual training here. So today's training is how to build a 5-day challenge. My name is Tyler Garns. I'm your host today. If we haven't met, great to meet you virtually. I've been around in the Keap/internet marketing space, Keap space for 15 years, over 15 years. I've been doing online marketing, internet marketing, sales, etc., in some way, shape, or form since 1999. So that's starting to make me rather old, but I absolutely love this stuff. And I'm excited to share with you today how to build something like this correctly. There are a lot of moving pieces in a campaign like this. The first piece is to get clear on the strategy. So I had given you some homework, and I'm going to pull out these sheets real quick here. I'm going to stop the slides for just a moment and hold this up. So you guys should have these. This should help you be getting clear on your 5-day challenge. And again, we're not going to spend significant time on this today, but you want to make sure you're clear on how you're going to promote. First thing is, what is the challenge, right? What is the actual challenge? What is the specific promise that you are offering, the specific result that they will get if they join your challenge? That needs to be clear in the title of the challenge. It needs to come out nice and strong so that people are like, ooh, yeah, I need to sign up for that, right? And then more importantly, I need to attend all of the sessions. So once you have that, once you're clear, then you need to get clear on how you're going to promote it. What do the reminders look like? And what content is going to happen during those 5 days? What's the offer at the end? And then what is the communication when you're actually closing the cart? You're trying to create some urgency and get people to sign up. Okay. So there's that. And then what is the actual content that you're going to deliver during that 5-day challenge? And so what you want to do is you want to plan out some great content in days 1, 2, and 3. Now, by the end of day 3 or in day 4, that's when you're going to start extending your offer. Okay. You don't want to wait till the very last session on the last day for many reasons. One is not all the people will attend the last day. So that's one thing. The other thing is they're going to be right in the middle of experiencing your challenge on days 3 and 4. And so that's when they're likely to be most engaged. So you're going to get people who are engaged, they're getting value, they're excited, they're learning to trust you because you're the expert. And that's the perfect time to be extending the offer. Also, when you extend your offer on day 3 or 4, that gives you another day or two to continue helping people make a decision around that offer. So that's a quick little planner for you there to kind of just jot down some ideas and start to plan this stuff out. Again, we won't go deep into all of that kind of stuff today. We're not going to write the copy. We're going to build this campaign, the technical pieces of it. Okay, Roxanne, great question. Is there going to be a recording of this session? Yes, there is. There will be a recording. Well, I always say we're going to try and get you a recording. Why? Because sometimes the recording just doesn't work. Sometimes the internet blows up. Who knows? But yes, we are recording the session. And as long as everything goes well, we'll get that to you. Okay, let's get back to our screen here. So what is our goal today? Our goal in the next 3 hours is to build this campaign. All right, so you may look at that and go, hey, that looks actually pretty simple. Others of you may look at it and go, holy smokes, that looks really overwhelming. And others of you might look at it and go, I don't even know what you're talking about. That is like, looking at Greek. No idea what any of that means. And that's okay. I'm going to walk you through step by step. So what I'm going to invite you to do is to get ready by logging into your Keap account and get a brand new campaign open. We're not going to get into it right this very second because we need to cover a few basics first. Before we build anything in Keap, I want to make sure that you and I are on the same page with regards to how we build stuff in Keap. Some of you know we've been around a long time here at Box Out Marketing, and we created something we call The Way. The Way is our internal set of rules on how we build stuff inside of Keap. The Way defines how you name tags, how you utilize tags, how you organize campaigns, and a whole bunch of other things. And so I'm going to teach you, at least briefly, a few of those things, because then when we get into building this campaign, it'll make a little bit more sense. And as you follow along, you'll start to learn The Way, and we'll be in sync there. So The Way, what is it? Well, first, it's a set of rules that I believe Keap should have had from the very beginning. And the foundation of it is in how we name tags. So tags, as you I'm sure already know, are applied to contact records to allow for easy searching and segmenting of contacts based on how, that should say who they are and what they've done. But tags can also trigger goals in the campaign builder. And this is important because oftentimes people use tags to do both of those things. I apply one tag. Hey, they registered for my 5-day challenge. That tag tells me what they did. They registered for the 5-day challenge, but I also use it to trigger the start of my 5-day challenge campaign. And that's a problem. When you use one tag for multiple functions, you start to create some problems for yourself inside of Keap. So the way is going to help you avoid some of those problems. So the right way to tag, we have 4 tagging commandments. We'll go through these quickly. I know a lot of you have seen this stuff before. If you have questions about this, by the way, or you're not sure about this, please comment. I also gave you a little bit of training when you registered on this. So hopefully this is not totally foreign. You've seen it before. I hope you've already gone through it, but we'll breeze through it quickly. So first thing is no tag shall ever be created without a category. As you know, when you create tags in Keap, they can be categorized. That is super, super important. So make sure you always categorize them. No tag shall ever be created without a following naming convention or without following a naming convention. That's what I'm going to teach you right now. You have to use a naming convention. Every tag's name shall declare its function. So I should be able to look at a tag and know, does this tag achieve a goal in a campaign? If so, which one? Or does this tag tell me something about what a customer did? Or does it tell me something about who a customer is? Or does it tell me where they are in a process, right? All of those are examples of the tag name should tell us the function, right? And then the last is tag name shall always start with the category name. Now that feels super redundant and silly, right? If I have a tag category called activity, why in my tag name would I name the tag activity dash blah, 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 blah? Well, the reason is because it used to be inside of Keap/Infusionsoft, there were a lot of places where you were looking at tags and you couldn't even see the category. That's generally been fixed, but a lot of third-party tools where you're pulling in the names of tags and you're having to select a tag, they don't always show you the category. And so having the category name in the tag name tells you its function. Going back to commandment number 3, that's where the function comes from, is actually the category name / the first part of the tag name. So Roxanne asks a great question. What if your tagging system is messed up? Can you just go in and delete the excess? Well, yes, you want to be careful about it though. We're not going to go into a big lesson here about how to clean up your tags, but you don't want to just go randomly deleting tags, because if they're tied to campaigns in terms of like triggering campaigns and they get applied in campaigns and things like that, then you could break some campaigns. So you want to be careful about that. But there is a systematic way of doing this where you can go through your tags, rename them, separate the functions, etc. It's a bit of work, I'll tell you what. It's not super easy. It's actually often easier to rebuild campaigns from scratch using good tag naming and then just delete all the old tags. So that's one way to think about it. If you're interested in our training on that, we do have inside of our Success Lab membership, we have a whole course on what we call administration mastery. It's all the administrative stuff inside of Keap. One of them is tagging and how to clean up tags. So anyways, all right, let's move on here. So, we've got 4 beautiful graphics that are animated. There we go. Next, tag categories. We generally start with 6 main categories: trigger tags, status tags, activity, profile, reporting, and temp. So let's go over what each of these are. This is important too, because I log into Keap accounts every day where I see tons and tons and tons of categories, and it starts to become very confusing. There's a lot of overlap. There's a lot of ambiguity and what those categories mean and things like that. So if you just have these 6, then you'll do a whole lot better and everything will be much more clear. So let's get into what those are. Trigger tags. So trigger tags are used to trigger actions in Infusionsoft or in Keap or in third-party systems, okay? They're temporary and they're removed after they're applied. So these are the ones that we use to achieve a goal, to start a sequence, or to stop a sequence or something like that, okay? So the rule is they must immediately be removed after the trigger has been completed. That's important because if you don't remove it, then you can't ever achieve that goal again. All right, the nomenclature is always like this: trigger dash the name of the campaign dash the name of the sequence, and then the actual trigger, which is usually start or stop or loop. So you have examples like this: trigger dash free report dash conversion sequence dash start. That tells me that this tag triggers in the free report campaign the starting of the conversion sequence. So it's super clear. I know exactly what that tag does. It starts the conversion sequence in the free report campaign, right? Okay, so again, there's start, stop, and loop for trigger tags. Status tags tell us where someone is at in a process. So usually for any given process, a contact will have one status tag. And then as their status changes, you remove that tag and you apply a different tag. So things like a sales process, if you're not using opportunity records and you're using tags, then you might have a tag that looks like this: status dash sales pipeline dash stage dash contacting. So right now they're in the contacting stage in the sales pipeline, but once I get a hold of them and we make an appointment, we might have another tag that tells me that they're in the appointment set stage in the sales pipeline, right? Okay, so activity tags are tags that we use very, very commonly. These tell us what a person has done or the actions the person has taken. So these are things like they filled out the form, they clicked, they opened, they purchased, stuff like that. So these tags are permanent. We never remove them. And again, activity is the name of the category, but it's also the first part of the tag name. Activity dash the campaign dash some specific, and then the action. So things like activity dash lead magnets might be our campaign, 7 steps report dash downloaded. So I know that this person has downloaded the 7 steps report, and that happened inside the lead magnets campaign. So again, this is important because if I ever need to go figure out where did this tag get applied and what's going on here, I can troubleshoot it easily. Okay, profile tags. These tell us who a person is. So they tell us about their demographics and psychographics. These are also permanent, and they're things like this, profile dash age dash, and then I might have a range of their ages. This could be, related to their interests, profile dash interests dash, whatever. If like in our list, people might be interested in campaign building. So I might have profile dash interests dash campaign building. So I know that anybody who has that tag has expressed interest in the past in learning how to build campaigns. Okay. All right. Reporting tags are really only used for reporting. I'm not going to go through that one in detail. We're not going to talk about that today. Temp tags are temporary, and tag naming isn't quite as important for temp tags, but I like to still do, temp dash, whatever the broad thing is, just something more specific, just something very specific. You'll notice that the tags all are named that way. Activity dash something broad like the campaign dash the action dash something very specific. Same thing with triggers. Trigger dash the campaign name dash the sequence name dash the action to start, stop, or loop. They always move in a broad to specific fashion. This is important because your tags are almost always listed in alphabetical order. So it's very easy to find all the tags that are related to each other because in an alphabetized list, they will be together based on their campaign name, sequence name, etc. And then also it's easy to find because they're in an alphabetized list, and you can easily scroll through and find the things that you're looking for. Okay. All right. So that's enough on tags. Let's talk about campaign organization. We also like to build campaigns in a way that they fit together like puzzle pieces, and we build them according to the stages of the perfect customer lifecycle. So these are the stages. Stage 1 is lead generation. Then we follow up and nurture. Then we extend offers and we run conversion campaigns. Then we have the sales or checkout process. Then we have to fulfill on what we sold. Then we might upsell them. We might ask for referrals, reviews, testimonials, things like that. And then stage 8 is just reporting and miscellaneous. But this is the customer lifecycle. And we build campaigns according to these stages. And so today we're going to work on a 5-day challenge, which I would consider stage 3. Now you might be saying, well, I'm going to use this to attract new people. I'm going to advertise my 5-day challenge and new people are going to come in. So isn't it lead gen? Yes, absolutely. But the core of it is stage 3. We're doing the challenge, yes, to get people in the door, but also to extend an offer and to sell them something. So primarily it is stage 3. Now this is important because if we label it stage 3, 5-day challenge, whatever, then we might have stage 2 campaigns that flow into it, right? Maybe we have an evergreen webinar as our lead generator. People sign up for that. They attend the webinar. They get into a nurture sequence. That nurture sequence then flows them into the 5-day challenge. Also, when they flow out of the 5-day challenge, they're going to purchase something. And so that goes into stage 4, which is our checkout process, and then our fulfillment process for that. But if they don't buy, then they need to flow into some kind of long-term nurture sequence, which is kind of back into stage 2. By separating all of these things, you can easily plug and play different campaigns. If you build the whole process of your customer lifecycle in one campaign, then it's really hard to start to uh, swap out lead magnets or change the way you're trying to convert people or things like that. If you build them all separately, then it's easy to just daisy chain them together like I've shown here. All right. With that, let's pause for just 1 sec. I want to see if you have any questions or if I've created any confusion yet before we actually get into a campaign and start building this stuff for your 5-day challenge. So let me know in the chat. Just give me a thumbs up if you're good. Or if you have questions, let me know and we'll address those. I want to make sure that we're not totally confusing you before we move on here. Okay. Okay. I think we're getting some thumbs up here. Okay, so everyone go ahead and get open your Keap account and let's go to the campaign builder under marketing. Okay, now hopefully this isn't a requirement for this kind of training, but hopefully you have 2 screens. What I would love is that you can watch what I'm doing on one screen and you can follow along and build it and do it yourself on your other screen. If you don't have 2 screens, that's fine. You can probably do this in 2 tabs of your browser, right? Like I've got up here 2 tabs. So you might have a tab where you're watching my screen, and then you flip over to another tab where you're building your own campaign. Okay? All right, so everyone, let's get ready. Go ahead from your main menu. Now, some of you might be in Keap Max or Keap Pro. In those platforms, the menu's on the left, and you're going to go to marketing. You're going to go to automations. This is an advanced automation. So create a new advanced automation. If you're in Keap Max Classic, like I am, you're going to click on the hamburger menu under marketing, go to campaign builder, and then you're going to click create your own right here. And then let's give that campaign a name. Now I, according to the way, will name this stage 3 dash 5-day challenge. Feel free to name it that if you'd like. Ideally though, you name it according to what your challenge is called, right? Don't just call it generically 5-day challenge, but you might have a 30 days to lose 30 pounds challenge or something like that. So let's get that named. Part of the way teaches us how to use the categories as well. So we're going to choose stage 3, and because it's a stage 3 campaign, just like we've named it. But also we have a category for building. We're in the process of building this one. It's not launched yet. Once we actually launch it, then we'll remove that one and add active. And then when we're all done with it and we're not running it anymore, then we can put it in archived. These other ones you can ignore those. But building, active, and archived are the ones that we use. So while we're building it, we'll put it in the building category. All right, the category is not super important, but it's helpful when you got a whole bunch of campaigns in there and you're trying to figure out what's what. Okay, everyone ready to start building? We all good with this? Give everyone a second just to get to this point, and then we're going to start moving quickly here. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm not going to do a whole lot of explaining. I'm going to do a whole lot of, let's just frame this thing out. Let's just build the framework. We're not going to go inside the sequences yet. We're just going to build the whole layout of the campaign first. And then I'll explain that whole flow. I'll do a little bit of explaining as we do it, but then I'll explain it. And then we'll go into the sequences and the goals and we'll configure everything. Okay. So the first part's going to be kind of fast and furious. And you're just going to need to watch and do, watch and do, watch and do. Don't ask questions. Don't ask why yet. I'll explain the whys. Okay. But we're just going to do this. I'm going to do it and you're going to copy me. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get a sequence out here and we're going to label this promote challenge to internal list. Okay. So this is a sequence where we're going to have some emails. We're going to put our internal list, anyone we want to invite to the challenge that we have on our internal list, we're going to put them into this sequence and send them some emails or some texts or some communications inviting them to join the challenge. So just bring that sequence out there, label it, promote challenge to internal list. Once we have that, at any point in time, by the way, if you get behind, jump in the chat, say, hey, stop, slow down, wait up for me. I'll do my best to wait up for those that are lagging. At the same time, we got to keep this moving. Okay. So, but I'll pause and give you a sec to catch up. So we've got that one sequence out there, promote challenge to internal list. Now, next, we're going to use either a web form or a landing page, whatever is most comfortable for you. If you're comfortable building a web form and then grabbing that code and embedding it on a page of your website, I would argue that that's better, but that's just me. If that's not comfortable to you, then use the landing page option. Okay. Now I'm going to label both of these opt-in for challenge. Okay. Now you're not going to have two. I've got two on my screen. You're only going to have one of these, right? Now, the next thing is once you have those out there, connect your sequence to the goal that you've chosen, whether it's the web form or the landing page. Again, you shouldn't have two. Just choose whichever one you want. If you're not sure, just choose the landing page. Okay. Use the landing page option, not the web form option, if you're not sure. But get one of those out there, connect it like this. And then after that, you're going to have another sequence. And we're going to call this drive to challenge registration. And we're going to connect the goal, which is the form or the landing page, to that sequence, drive the challenge registration. Okay. Now, again, you won't have both of those. You will only have one. You'll have one straight line going across here. So we're going to put people in here. We're going to tell them, hey, join the challenge. They're going to go to a landing page where they can opt in. They'll put in their name and their email to say, yeah, I'm interested in this challenge. And then we're going to put them into this sequence that's going to continue to follow up with them until they actually sign up for the challenge. Now, this is a paid challenge. It doesn't have to be a paid challenge, but the best way to do this is to do a paid challenge. It doesn't have to be expensive, but when you get people to cough up a few bucks, they're going to be much more likely to show up. And that's what you want. People who show up are going to be your best prospects. It's very common in these challenges to have a general registration. Okay, so I'm bringing out a purchase goal, product purchased, and put it here, label it general registration. And then I'm also going to have a VIP registration. So you can drag another product purchase goal out and drop it on the canvas, or you can do what I did, which is hold down Control, click and drag, and that'll make a copy of the goal or the sequence that you're dealing with. So your drive to challenge sequence is going to send people to an order form where they're going to sign up and they're going to choose, hey, I want general registration, maybe that's $97, or I want VIP registration, which might be something like $297. Okay, so they're going to choose. I'm going to do general, or I'm going to do VIP. So you've got two options there for them. Now, when they fill out the form to opt in, they'll go directly to a sales page that's going to tell them all about it and say, hey, sign up for general here or sign up for VIP here. So they may never spend any time in this drive to challenge registration sequence. But if they don't purchase right away, then you're following up here with emails saying, hey, you forgot to check out, go sign up. Challenge is about to start, right? And so they're going to go sign up for either general or VIP registration. Okay. I think everyone is following along, at least from what I can tell. Again, if you get behind, tell me to pause. I'll slow down. There's one thing, though, here that we need to change and we need to fix. You may run ads to your opt-in page where you're promoting the challenge. And right now, the way these goals are set, and again, you only have one of them, but the way they're set is that goal won't be achieved by someone who wasn't already in the campaign from the beginning, like these people that we put from our internal list. So we need to click on the lower left-hand icon right down here and change this drop-down. It says this goal can be achieved by, and the default is contacts in this campaign. But what we want is any contact, whether they are in this campaign or not. Because if they come from Facebook ads or whatever, we want them to be able to get into this campaign. So they need to be able to achieve the goal. So we'll set this to any contact, and we'll do that. I'll do that on this one as well. Again, you just have one of these. You should only have one. And when you do that, this little blue guy shows up in the upper right-hand corner of the goal. I call that guy the running man. The running man indicates that people can come from the outside world into that goal and achieve the goal. And that's really important that the running man is there. If not, again, always check this guy, change the drop down from context in this campaign to any contact, and you'll be good to go. Okay. I know that's a little bit weird. I wish Keap would change the default. I believe the default should be any contact, but the default is not. So we always have to change those goals, right? Okay. Next is these goals when they purchase. The same thing potentially could happen. Now, we're driving people into the landing page where they opt in. And so they should already be in the campaign before they get to the purchase goal. But it's possible that maybe they use a different email address when they actually check out. When they first opted in, they're like, well, I'm not really sure. I'll use my spam email address, right? And then they use their real email address when they purchase. Or it could be that they got to this page and they're like, yeah, you know what? This is awesome. I've got a friend who should definitely get in on this. And they just email their friend that link to that order form and the friend signs up. So we want these to be accessible to the outside world as well. So let's change these goals to any contact, both for general registration as well as for VIP registration. Okay. Now we'll pause here for a sec. Make sure everyone's caught up. This campaign is not going to fit in our view here. So there's a couple of options. One is you can zoom out on your screen on your browser. On a Mac, that's Command minus. Command minus will start to zoom out. That'll give me more room. Problem is, it starts to become really hard to see what's going on there. So I'm not going to do that. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the canvas anywhere, click, hold, and drag. And if I drag like that, I can move the canvas around so that I can get to where I want to get. Okay. So as I build here, I'm just going to keep scooting this over to the right. Well, I guess I'm moving the campaign to the left so I have more access to the right to add stuff on here. Okay. So let's continue building here. We're going to grab another sequence. And we're going to put that sequence just to the right of the general registration. So after they purchase, then we're going to put them into a sequence that we're going to call general registration welcome, right? So once they purchase, we want to send them a welcome email. We're going to tag them, and we're going to identify those people as people who have registered for our general challenge, right? Now, the way this usually works, if you haven't seen it done before, is general registration people will get access to a Facebook group. That Facebook group is where they are going to experience the live training. So you do your training, say in Zoom. In Zoom, there's a way to have your Zoom meeting or webinar feed go right into your Facebook group. Okay, so you're going to set that up so that your Zoom webinar also plays inside the Facebook group. These people, general registration people, will never get access to the Zoom itself. They'll just log into the Facebook group and they'll watch the live stream there. And they can comment there and that kind of stuff, but they don't have the same level of access to you as the VIP people. See, the VIP people are paying extra because oftentimes you stay afterwards on the Zoom. You know, you might turn off the feed into the Facebook group and you stay afterwards on the Zoom for the VIP people and you answer questions one-on-one. You know, they get a little more attention like that. And so what we need to do for the VIP people is we need to get them registered in Zoom, right? And the way we do that is we use third-party tools. I'm not going to show you exactly how that works yet, but let's just label this sequence as third-party webinar registration. Okay, so we'll call this third-party webinar registration. Okay, so we're not sending them a welcome quite yet. And truthfully, I shouldn't have put this out here yet. I'm gonna delete that. We're gonna focus on just the general registration first. I started explaining it and I got a little ahead of myself. So let's focus on general registration first. So general registration, they're gonna purchase and they're gonna get a welcome, and we're gonna do some tagging there. Then after that, we are going to put them into a sequence that has the general challenge reminders. Okay. I'm going to put this one down here a little ways. You'll see why in just a moment, but we'll just call this general challenge reminders. Okay. So these are all the emails leading up to the start of the challenge that are telling these people, hey, here's why you need to be excited about the challenge. Make sure you mark it in your calendar. Don't forget, we're starting on such and such day. Here's some extra content for you. Here's some bonus content, whatever. You're doing things in this sequence to get people excited about attending your challenge. We need to make sure they actually show up. And so we're going to get them all fired up prior to the challenge starting. These are all the reminders, add to calendars, etc., that are going to do that. Okay. Next, we'll have another sequence. Now, could all this be one sequence? Yes, but I think it's better, at least for me, to kind of see the different segments and see what's happening along the way. Okay. So this one we'll call during challenge emails. And then I'm going to put general because we'll have a sequence like that for VIPs as well. So now once the actual challenge starts, these are the emails that are going to go out, each day saying, okay, we're starting now. And then after the session, it might say, hey, that was a great session. Don't forget, we learned about bullet point number 1, bullet point number 2, bullet point number 3. Here's your homework, right? That's another feature of doing a challenge like this is you often give people homework during those challenge sessions that they need to work on before the next session the next day. And that's important because for them to get the result that you're promising, they're going to need to do some work. And so this sequence is all of those emails going out during the 5 days, giving them their homework, pointing them in the right direction, maybe giving them additional resources to help with the homework, and reminding them each day to attend. And here's the link to join and to get into the Facebook group and whatever. Okay. That's that part. John says, Tyler, if you have another membership site other than Facebook, would you invite to that membership site? Sure. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you can get your webinar feed into that membership site. It doesn't really matter where it's at. You just want to make sure that they can watch it live. And ideally, they can comment and interact with each other. And maybe you've got a staff person who's in there as well, answering their questions and commenting and things like that. Facebook is really easy to do that. That's why most people use Facebook for it. But that's a great question. You could do it on any platform as long as your Zoom webinar or whatever webinar platform you're using will feed into your membership site. Okay. All right. Now, when they're going through the challenge and even prior to the challenge, you may want to drop some hints that, hey, you should upgrade. You general people, you're having a great experience, but you could get so much more if you upgrade to VIP. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a goal up here. It's going to be a tag goal. And I'm going to call this upgrade to VIP. And I'm going to connect this here. Now, if you're familiar with how the campaign builder works, you know that this goal, when it's achieved, it will stop the during challenge emails general sequence. It will also stop the general challenge reminder sequence. It will also stop the general registration welcome sequence. So no matter where the person is when they purchase, maybe they upgrade right afterwards. They're like, you know what, that was a dumb decision. I just want to upgrade. And they go and they upgrade. Great. Then when they upgrade, it will pull them out of all of this. And that's good because we don't want them to continue getting general challenge reminders and the emails during the challenge for the general audience because they're now VIPs. So we're going to pull them out. Now, at the same time, we're also going to put another sequence right up here. When people get their general registration welcome sequence, after that, we're going to put them into a sequence that we're going to call upgrade to VIP. We're not going to leave it to chance that they upgrade to VIP. We're actually going to invite them to do that. So this sequence is going to run independently of the general challenge reminder and the during challenge emails. Why? Well, these are all going to be on a schedule, right? If your challenge is, starts January 1st, then these emails are going to go January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. These ones are going to go in the days and weeks prior to that. They're all going to be on a set schedule. But this upgrade to VIP, you might want to get them an upgrade to VIP email pretty soon after they sign up. And then a few days later, and a few days later, and a few days later. And you might schedule those, in conjunction with different things happening during your challenge and whatever. So that upgrade to VIP sequence is going to run independent, but it also needs to be stopped if they do upgrade. Okay. Any questions about what we have built so far? Is that all making sense? Everyone on track with us? Feel free to jump in the chat if you have questions or concerns. You're not quite sure what's going on here. Okay. Looks like we're all tracking. This also can scoot over a little bit too. It doesn't have to be so spread out. Okay. All right. Looks like we're all tracking pretty good. Again, Lou asks, curious, what if we're running a free challenge? Yeah, no problem. So if you're running a free challenge, basically you're going to have your opt-in and and then you can delete this drive to challenge sequence here and delete the purchase goal here, and then just connect this opt-in straight into your general welcome. And if you don't have any purchase options, then there's no VIP or anything. It's going to be very simple. You're just going to go straight into your general registration welcome. You're not going to have the upgrade up here, but you will go into this sequence and this sequence. And then next you're going to have the rest of the stuff we're going to build later, but you won't have this upgrade to VIP goal. So you'll have a much more simplified version of this. Okay. All right. So we're going to pause for general at that point there. We're going to go start working on our VIP registration. So like I mentioned before we can send these people a welcome, we need to actually register them with Zoom or whatever third-party tool we're using for our webinar. And so we're going to call this third-party webinar registration. Okay, and again, we'll get into the details of what's inside these sequences in a little bit, but right now we're just framing this thing out. Okay, now when you're using third-party registration, it's possible for these things to fail. And so we need to know if it fails or if it succeeds. So we're going to use some tag goals here. So I'll put a tag goal right next to it, and we're going to call this successful registration. And then we're going to use another tag goal below it, and we're going to call that one registration error. Okay, and then of course the third-party webinar registration sequence is going to connect to both of those. If it succeeds, we'll achieve this goal. If it fails, we will achieve this goal. Okay. Now, if it fails, I'm just going to do an internal notification. Internal notification. I'm not going to try and automate a bunch of re-register them and all that kind of stuff. If you know how to do that, great. If not, don't stress over it. We're just going to notify someone internally. They're going to look into it and they're going to figure out what's wrong, and hopefully they can fix it. Okay. Now, by the way, that doesn't happen very often. It's a really, really rare case, but it's good to plan for it anyways, just in case. Okay, so once we have successful registration, then here we're going to do our VIP registration welcome. Okay, so we'll connect our successful registration to our VIP welcome. Now, I'm going to move all this down a little bit. If you've never done this before, you can hold down Shift while you click and drag on the canvas. Don't click a goal or a sequence, but click and drag on the canvas, hold down Shift. It'll make a blue box, and that blue box, you want to cover everything you're going to move. So I'm going to select all of that area, and I'm going to move it down just ever so slightly. I'm going to make a little bit of room up here. Reason being is because we want our VIP registration welcome to be a little bit different if they're upgrading from general. So I'm going to put a sequence above the VIP registration welcome. I'm going to connect the successful registration goal, and I'm going to call this congrats on upgrading. Congrats on upgrading. So that's our welcome, VIP welcome for people who already got a general registration welcome. They've already got the welcome message in general, right? So now we just want to tell them, hey, congrats on upgrading. You're good to go. And then now we're going to continue on here with VIP challenge reminders. Now, I had all this spread out a little bit further on top earlier for the general registration, and I'm actually going to move it to be more spread out again. And this is me just being kind of psycho, and I'm okay with that. The reason being is I want my VIP challenge reminders to line up with my general challenge reminders. I want all this stuff to I want to be able to look at this left to right and have it all flow logically and have everyone be in the same place. So when everyone's registered and we haven't started the challenge yet, all of my people should be either in the general challenge reminder or in the VIP challenge reminder sequence, right? That's where they should all be. And then once the challenge actually starts, then our VIP people go into this sequence. We're going to call our during challenge emails VIP. So again, during the challenge, all of my people are either in the general sequence here or in the VIP sequence here. We're flowing left to right, and it all logically makes sense and it lines up, perfectly. That's important to me, just to keep everything organized. You may not be so anal about this stuff, but I promise you, if you learn to be a little bit more anal, then your campaigns will be easier to manage and they'll cause you less trouble. Okay. How are we doing here? Everyone following along? I kind of was talking as I was building stuff, and I wasn't necessarily making sure that you could click and follow every step that I did. So look at your canvas, look at mine, make sure we're all about in the same place here. Veronica says that's not psycho, that's making the x-axis have a meaning. Yes, thank you. All right. So just Sean says just need just 1 minute. That's fine. Yeah, we'll take a little pause here while we're getting everybody caught up. Okay. All right. We really only have 4 more elements to put out onto the canvas here. So we're getting there. We're getting close on the framing of this whole campaign. Okay, so let's scoot over a little bit more. We need to make a little bit more room here to the right to make sure that we can build what we need. Now, everybody, once they go through the challenge, whether they're general or VIP, we're selling everybody the same stuff, right? So we can start to merge these two together now. So we're going to put a sequence out here. We're going to connect the general and the VIP pathways together. And we're going to label this one CTA, it's call to action, and promote post challenge bonus session. Now, again, this is not a required part of this 5-day challenge process, but it is fairly common and I would say rather successful. So the idea is you do your 5-day challenge, and on that 5th day during the session, you tell everybody, hey, you know what? This has been so great. And you guys all have been so wonderful, great participants. And there's still so many awesome questions that I want to make sure we answer. So we're going to do a impromptu bonus session tomorrow. And that session, you can use the same link to join that you've been using to join the other sessions and blah, 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 right? So we're inviting people to this bonus session. Really all that is it's objection handling, right? We're closing the sale. In days 4 and 5, we've pitched the sale. We're trying to close the sale. We're still, of course, providing value, but we're trying to get people to commit. And this 6th day bonus session is really just an attempt to dig in, answer questions, which is objection handling, continue to press on the value of your offer, and help people make that decision and commit to themselves and to their success. And so that's what that is. It's just going to be an invitation to another session, some reminders about that session to get them in there. And then lastly, once it's all over, we're going to have a few email follow-ups to close the deal, right? So we're going to have a countdown timer probably to, hey, the offer expires on such and such day. Make sure you buy. And all of that leads to product purchase goal. So we're going to say, call this challenge purchase, whatever it is that you're offering here. we're going to make sure that when they purchase, it stops all the stuff on the left. And then in a campaign like this, I always have a sequence that we call challenge, conversion, and fulfillment. Okay. So fulfillment, as you saw when we talked about the way, fulfillment happens in another campaign. That's stage 5. We build it in another campaign. Why? Well, we might sell this same offer in 14 different places. We do it during the 5-day challenge. We do it during our monthly webinar. We sell it at our live events, whatever. So this can't be the only place that fulfillment lives, right? We need that to be in its own place in a campaign where we can manage fulfillment, have it be consistent, and have it done well, and have one place where it's all managed. So this sequence, we're going to apply a tag or two to track conversion on this particular campaign. And we're doing that independently than all the other campaigns, right? Independently from our webinars and our live events and our all the different things where we also sell this same product. And so here we can track conversion on just this 5-day challenge. And then if your fulfillment is triggered by a tag, you can apply that tag here and trigger your fulfillment. Your fulfillment in the other campaign might be triggered by the purchase goal, which is fine. But this is where it all ends. We don't do the fulfillment in this campaign. We do it elsewhere. Okay, that is our campaign. We're not done yet, of course. We've just framed it out. But that is the framework of building a 5-day challenge. And I've thrown in a little bit of the strategy there by helping you see some of the additional pieces to what we're actually building. Okay. Sam says a thing of beauty. Ah, thank you, Sam. That just warms my heart when someone tells me my campaigns are beautiful. That is amazing. I love it. Okay, so now we need to get in and actually do the hard work, right? That's the easy work is just framing it out. Now we got to get in and do that hard work. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to build this with a specific date in mind, meaning we're going to build with date timers. You may not know when you're going to run your 5-day challenge. And if so, if not, that's okay. You can just put in the date timers and not set them. And then you'll set them once you get all this figured out. If you do know when your 5-day challenge is going to be, maybe you're planning one for January, you can start setting those timers now. Okay. So we're going to get in here and do this, and we're going to do it kind of down and dirty. We're not going to write copy. I'm not even going to open emails. I'm just going to, again, we're going to, just like we did here, we're going to frame out inside each sequence and goal in a quick and easy way so that functionally you can get this thing all working. And then your job after this is just to get in and write the copy, do the creative pieces, and that kind of stuff. Okay. All right. So promote challenge to internal sequence. Let's double click that. And that'll take you into that sequence itself. You have a start button here. And what we're going to do is we're going to build out our promotion sequence. And this can be as many or as few emails as you want. I would certainly recommend you've got a few. If you're going to put the effort into building a 5-day challenge and running this whole thing, which is a lot of work, promote the heck out of it. So let's put a date timer out there. We want that first email to start on a certain day. Drag this one out here, and I like to label my email, so we'll just call it promo email 1. And then I'm going to get another date timer, promo email 2, another date timer, promo email 3. Now watch this, watch carefully. Again, we did this earlier, but I'm going to show you again. When you're building out stuff like this, try and take advantage of the fact that you can do stuff in bulk, right? Don't make yourself click and drag like I just did a bunch of times. But once I build out a row here, I'm going to click, hold down shift, click and drag to cover that whole line with that blue box. Once I do that, let go. Now I'm going to hold down control and click and drag it just below it. That makes a whole nother line. Now I'm just going to connect this promo email 3 to the next timer down here. And then I'll just click each of these to update the numbers 4, 5, and 6. Okay. All right. So if my challenge, when you're building stuff like this, easiest to work backwards. If my challenge starts on January 1st, for example, I'm going to look at this and go, okay, what does my promotion sequence need to look like? Well, I might want to send my last email on the 31st, kind of a last chance email. So I can double click here, set that on December 31st, whatever time I want, and then move backwards from that. Okay, when should the previous email to that be? Well, maybe a couple of days before that. And then a couple of days before that. And maybe I hit them kind of quick and hard in the beginning. I go like, the whatever date, and then the next day and the next day. I do 3 emails right in a row, and then I give them a little break, and then I kind of ramp it up again as the timeline starts to get closer. Okay, but again, we're not going to go into those details. That's all we need inside of the challenge sequence. Okay, once you get all that ready, you've written all the copy, you've marked all the timers to be correct, you mark that ready, and you're back here. Okay, next thing is our opt-in. Now, if you're using the web form, I'll show you this real quick. I would recommend just first name and email for something like this, right? So I got first name, email, primary phone. I'm going to get rid of phone. I'm going to have to build a thank you page, set up the URL here, or build it inside of here. I don't like Keap's hosted thank you pages, so I would set up a web address and put in, the thank you page that you want there. Get all that set and ready, mark it ready. Now, before you grab the code for that, you guys probably already know this, but before you grab the code, make sure you publish the campaign. Even though I'm not done with all of this, that's fine. No contacts are in it. It doesn't matter. Publish it, then come back, double click on here. And once you get in there, go to code. I prefer the unstyled code so I can style it the way I want on my website. Copy the code and go paste it onto your website, on your landing page, and build your landing page over there. Okay, that's the process for the web form if you're using the web form option. If you're using the landing page option, I will show you that now. Now, this is using, again, Keap Max Classic. In Keap Pro and Keap Max, you have a different landing page builder, but the general idea is the same. Camille, great question. Wouldn't the thank you page for that form be the order form for the challenge? Yeah, I probably wouldn't take them straight to the order form, but I would take them to like a sales page where you're like, okay, next step is, to pay for your ticket to the challenge. Here's why. I'd probably have a video on there, blah, blah, blah. And then the 2 different buttons: purchase general, purchase VIP, right? If you took them straight to the order form, then they wouldn't have an option. You would take them straight to the order form, whichever one you chose. So I take them to a sales page, sales letter, sales video, 2 buttons, choose your option, etc. Yeah, thanks for reminding me about that. Okay, next, landing page. If you're just going to build a landing page in here, great. Again, there's 2 different landing page builders. There's one in Keap Max and Keap Pro. There's one in Keap Max Classic. I'm going to show you that one. But in general, they're very similar. I'm going to go ahead and create a landing page here. Once this guy gets happy, I'm not going to wait for it. That didn't seem to work so hot, did it? Let's try again. There's always the risk with live training. All right, this is a good time for questions. If you have questions, get them in now. Lou says, what if we're using different platform for landing pages, for example, Kajabi? Yeah, so it's a good question. If you're using a different platform for your landing pages, instead of having the form or the landing page on your canvas, the way we built it there, you might have a tag goal. So if you're using a third-party tool that can apply a tag in Keap through the API, then you might have a tag goal instead. I would highly recommend not using a third-party tool, particularly not Kajabi. I don't have anything against Kajabi, by the way. It's a great platform. It doesn't talk super nice to Keap. That's my only hesitation there. ClickFunnels, same thing. You can integrate them. If you're going to use ClickFunnels, what I would do is I would use the web form option inside of Keap, grab that web form code, and stick it into your ClickFunnels page. It works much better that way than trying to integrate through Zapier or the other integrations that they have. Okay, so here, might be easiest to find a landing page that looks kind of like what you're trying to do here. This doesn't, because it looks like an ebook sale, but that's okay. I'm going to use that one anyways, because this thing's running slow. And if this takes too long, we'll just skip this part because I think everyone has the general idea of what a landing page should look like. And if you don't, then hire someone to build it for you. But your landing page is going to have, copy saying, hey, here's our 5-day challenge. Here's what it's all about. Here's why you should sign up. You might have a video explaining it. You might have some testimonials on there, various different things. But the most important thing, of course, is the form where people are going to put in their name and their email. We're capturing that so that we can follow up with them if they don't happen to purchase right away. All right. Our landing page builder seems to be struggling. Any other questions while we're waiting for this? Everyone else doing okay with that step? We're just basically trying to get the functional step of the lead capture set up. So whether that's configuring your form or basic configuring of your landing page, don't worry about trying to write the copy right now. Don't worry about trying to do the design of your landing page right now. Just functionally, do we have a form where people can put in their name and their email address and sign up for this thing? If you can get that far, then we're looking pretty good. Let's try this one more time. Okay, the rest of them aren't loading. Oh, here we go. Try that one again. Okay, so I'm going to name this a challenge landing page or whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to make sure I have my lead capture set up. In this case, there's only email. I like to have a name in there, right? So I'm going to add first name, and I'm going to drag this guy up above there. I'm going to click on it and make sure I take off the label. I think it's redundant to have labels and placeholders. Placeholders are when the label is inside the field, and the label is when it's outside the field, like that. So I like to have just the placeholders. That's me. That's my personal preference. I might do a little bit of, copy changes here. Join the challenge, right? Okay, so you get the idea. You come in, you put your logo, you change the headline and the little text here, and probably put a video over here instead, and then a little bit about you and some testimonials, and you're all set, right? You're good to go. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and hit continue, and we're gonna publish that baby, and then we're gonna get out of the landing page builder. Back to our campaign. Okay, back in our campaign. Once they've opted in, then we want to have a drive to challenge registration sequence. Here we're going to tag them. Okay. So when they've opted in, we want to give them a tag. And I'm going to call this activity dash. I'm going to put 5DC for 5-day challenge. You're going to put the name of your challenge there. Okay. So don't copy me exactly in the tag naming here. Use the name of your challenge. If you're not sure what it's called yet, then maybe just use 5DC, and you can change the names of your tags later. But I'm going to call it activity dash 5DC dash opted in. Okay, that's the activity. They opted into the 5-day challenge. Super simple. Create, give it, category of activity, apply the category, hit apply so that we're applying that tag, and we're good to go. Next, we're going to build out our follow-up sequence here. Now, generally, we don't want to use different types of timers in a campaign where we've already set a type of timer, right? And so earlier on, we were using date timers, and we're going to use date timers throughout the rest of this thing because we need everything lined up with when the challenge starts and during the challenge on each day and all that kind of stuff. We need those to be very specific. But in this particular case, depending on how far out I'm promoting the challenge, if I'm only promoting the challenge out, 5 or 10 days, then it might be pretty easy actually just to use some date timers here. If I'm promoting it out like a month out, then they might opt in and then have a long period of delay Or I just have to write a whole bunch of emails here to accommodate that space in between. And so you might use delay timers in that situation. But the problem with delay timers is if they opt in just before the challenge starts and they don't purchase, they'll continue getting reminders after the challenge has started, maybe even after it's over, if you built a long sequence with delay timers. So I would recommend using date timers, but I just wanted to explain the difference there and what kinds of challenges you might run into. So if I have a long delay in between here, then what's cool is if they opt in after the first few timers, they'll just skip forward. They'll skip any timer that was in the past, and they'll end up on timers that are in the future. Okay, so again, we're going to build out a few emails here. These are emails that are trying to get them to go pay for the challenge now, right? So again, I'm not going to build this out. Whoops, I'm not going to build this out in crazy detail. We're not going to talk a ton about what all this entails. We're just going to build the framework. You notice I didn't do my whole copy and paste trick here. I was just clicking and dragging, trying to make sure you guys are all caught up with me. Okay, so we got a sequence here of emails that they're going to get. If they opt in and they don't sign up and pay for a ticket right away, they'll get these follow-ups trying to encourage them to go pay and join the challenge. Got it? Okay. So next is our product purchase goals. So if you haven't already, you'll need to create products for those and select the products, right? And make sure that those products are selected there so that when they're purchased, they trigger the goals. I'm not going to do that part here. Okay, general registration welcome. This one, again, is going to be a very simple sequence. Okay, we're just going to apply a tag. Let's go in here, apply a tag. And I'm going to call this activity dash 5DC dash register. No, I'm going to say general dash registered. Okay. So again, that tells me that they registered with a general ticket, general admission ticket, not a VIP ticket for the 5-day challenge. Activity, apply category, apply that tag and save. Then I'm going to put an email out here. This is going to be my general admission welcome email. So you can imagine what that might say. Hey, welcome to the challenge. You're in, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's also where you're going to invite them to the Facebook group and maybe give them a pre-assignment. Okay, so I'm going to put a little note out here just to remind you guys what might be in that email, right? Welcome them to the challenge, invite them to the Facebook group, and give them an assignment. Hey, log into the Facebook group and post a video introducing yourself and what you want to get out of the challenge, something like that, right? Now, if you are using you could be using Keap for this, or you could be using a third-party tool, but you might want to send a text message as well, welcoming them to the challenge by text and just letting them know, hey, we'll send you occasional text message reminders to make sure that you have a great experience with the challenge. Right? So you can do that, or if you're using some third-party tool, it's probably going to be an HTTP post here. Okay. All right. Sean asked what the tag was that was applied. So I called that one activity dash 5DC. Again, you would replace the name of your challenge there. Activity dash 5DC dash general dash registered. Okay. Now, I have a very specific tag naming system that we call the way. I believe the way is the best way. But also, I'll just say, it really doesn't matter. What matters is that you create a system that works for you. So if you don't like dashes and you want to use slashes or dots or asterisks or whatever, that's fine. And if you don't want to follow exactly the way I do it, that's fine. As long as it does two things. One, it needs to work for you so that when you need to go find a tag, you can easily find it. So when you look at a tag, you immediately know exactly what it does. And 3, so that it doesn't make stuff go wrong in your campaigns because you're using one tag for multiple functions. Whatever you do, don't do that. Okay. All right. So that's what I named it there. Again, once you write the email and you write the text message and everything, you're marking that ready and you're good to go. And we are moving on. Okay. Next, we're going to go into our general challenge reminders. Okay. Now, general challenge reminders, this is going to be, again, a long sequence, getting people hyped up for the challenge. And depending on how far out you promote this thing, this sequence is going to have to be longer or shorter. So again, we're going to put emails out here. Reminder 1. Oops. Reminder 2. Some of you are tripping right now because I have a capital E and that's really bugging you. I'm just not going to let it bug me right now. All right, reminder 3, reminder 4. And again, now we'll select this whole thing, drop it down, connect, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, you might get fancy in here as well and have some text message reminders, right? So right before the challenge starts, we're going to have a text message. We might have one, at some point in between all of this, getting them hyped up about something. Okay. So I'd highly recommend using some text message. Don't overuse it. It'll tick people off, but use it occasionally and in the right situations to make sure that people are engaged. Okay. Again, once you've got all that planned out, you've got all the emails written, the text messages written, you've tested them all, everybody's happy with that copy and what those emails are like, mark that sequence ready. And we're back to the canvas. Okay. All right, next we're going to go into our during challenge emails general sequence. Okay, and then here we're going to do basically the same thing, right? We've got a timer, we've got day 1 challenge starting now. And I might have a text message starting now, right? I prefer to label all my emails and text messages very specifically. Main reason is because when you're looking at a contact record and you're trying to troubleshoot things, you're looking at the campaign history. If everything just says like untitled email or goal completed or whatever, then you have no idea what it is. So if you label it all specifically, then you can go find all this stuff and troubleshoot things much, much easier. Okay, then we're gonna wait, and we got after the challenge on day 1, we're gonna give them some homework. Okay, day 1 homework. All right. And then we're going to wait until day 2, starting now. Day 2, starting now. Might do a text message again there as well, right when you're starting. Day 2, starting now. Okay, and you're going to continue building this kind of thing out. So we got now day 2, afterwards, homework. Day 2, homework. Okay. I've got enough there. I'm going to do a little copy paste, select all those, copy it down, and we'll start doing day 3 challenge starting now. Day 3 starting now. Day 3 homework. Day 4 starting now. Day 4 starting now, text message, and day 4 homework. Okay, and then we'll have day 5. And day 5, they're probably not going to have homework, but might have some day 5 follow up right after that session is over. And that might be a reminder about that bonus session that we talked about. All right, make sure we connect these so the whole thing flows. And we're good to go. Now, I know I'm flowing through all this pretty quickly. By the way, like I said, day 4 or 5, you're extending an offer. So these emails, particularly this last one, this is offer language here, right? This is go buy, go sign up, etc. Okay, I'm moving through these pretty quickly, but you get the general idea. This is all the communication happening during the challenge. All right, back. Let's address the upgrade to VIP, and then we'll go and take care of VIP. So again, upgrade to VIP, it's just a sequence driving to an upgrade page. What I would do, this is just me, is I'd have this be an order form. I'd have a second order form that has the same product in it, but a discount is being applied to cover the cost of general registration, right? And so that's the way I would do it, but there's multiple ways to do that. So inside this upgrade to VIP sequence, again, we're going to have date timer, email, upgrade to VIP, 1, date timer, email, upgrade to VIP, 2, date timer, email, upgrade to VIP, 3, and then I might have like a last chance text message. Last chance to upgrade. The challenge is about to start. All right. All right. Make sure we connect all these correctly. Okay. I'm moving pretty quickly. I'm just going to pause and see where we're at here. Yes, Sam, good call out. Sam says, so the reminder emails are actually stick strategy emails. Yes, that's exactly what they are. Lou asked, does Keap have text message service? Yes, it does. But it only works in some countries. That's correct, Brett. Brett is in Australia, so he knows well the limitations there. If you need it to work in other countries, there are plenty of integrations that work. Lou says, if you run the same challenge 2 months later, can you copy the whole campaign and then update the date / emails, or would you create a whole new campaign? That's a good question, Lou. What I would do is I would copy the whole campaign. I would change all the date timers and then change the tags so that the tags are specific to that particular date that you ran it. Okay. Kristen asking, does Keap charge extra for text? Yes. I can't remember what it is. It's either 4 cents a text or 2 cents a text, something like that. Lou, we recently did a challenge campaign for one of our clients that wanted it to be evergreen. And if you want, maybe at the end, if we have time, I'll go back and show you guys how you could build this in an evergreen fashion. Basically, we use field timers for everything instead of date timers. And then back at the beginning of the campaign, use this guy right here, set field value, and you set a custom field, right? So you say overwrite the field value, and we're using a particular date field. I don't have one set up, I don't think, for a challenge, but let's pretend it's like a webinar date. And we set the date and time of the start of the challenge. So day 1, the exact time that day 1 webinar starts, we set that date and time here. That particular, here, let's use this one. So this one has date and time, right? So we can say, hey, if this thing starts on January 2nd at 10 a.m., that's when the session starts, the very first session. Then you build all of your timers using not date timers, using field timers. And so then I would say, all right, use the webinar date and time, use the year in the field, and then I set everything in relationship to that. 5 days before, 10 days before, 11 days before, however many days before, hours after, hours, days after, minutes after, whatever. You coordinate everything in relationship to that start date, which gets a little bit tricky, but it's not that crazy. So that's one way to do it, where if you're going to use it over and over, where you don't have to actually do a whole bunch of work every time you use it. Yeah, and Brett, that's only if you're using this more than once. So for the purposes of today, we're assuming you're going to set up the 5-day challenge, you're going to run it once, and we're not going to build anything to allow you to run it twice or 10 times or whatever. You can always do that later. I always recommend doing something once first, making sure it works before you put in a bunch of effort to make it evergreen or any of those types of fancy things that you can do. Okay, Veronica and Sean were asking us to hold. Are you guys good to move forward now? Okay, yeah, looks like we are. Okay, so that's our upgrade to VIP. I'm just going to mark it ready so I know which ones we've gone over here. All right, third-party registration. Now, I'll show you two different ways, two different systems to do this. The most common is probably using plus this and Zoom, right? And that's probably the best way to do it. So what we're going to do is we're going to log into plus this. Actually, we're going to log into Zoom first. Okay. And if you don't have a Zoom account, no worries. Just sit back, relax, and watch all of this part and just kind of take it in. And again, this is being recorded. Hopefully, the recording works, and you can go back and follow along if you later get a Zoom account. Okay. So with Zoom, ideally use Zoom webinars instead of Zoom meetings. It doesn't really matter. Plus, this will deal with both. Um, and plus, this also has an integration with GoToMeeting, Sean. So that works as well. But the general idea is I'm going to come in and I'm going to set up a webinar, right? Shoot, this account doesn't have webinars. I thought it did. Okay, we'll do a meeting. So we'll schedule a meeting. And when we schedule that meeting, we're going to give it a name. And the most important thing here, well, not the most important thing, but a few of the important things are we need to make this a recurring meeting, right? So if my challenge starts on January 2nd at 10 a.m., okay, I'll make that 10 a.m. And let's say it's like a 2-hour session each day of the challenge. I can do that. But then I'm going to say recurring, and I'm going to make this recur daily. And I'm going to have the end be after 6 occurrences. Remember, this 5-day challenge, and then we're doing that bonus session after. So 6 occurrences. That way, when they register, excuse me, when they register, they'll be registered for all of them. They get one link, and that link will work for all of the sessions. And that's great because we're going to store that link into a custom field, and all the emails that we send them are going to use that link so that they can just click on that link and join any of the sessions. Okay, so once you get all that set up and you save it, webinars is a little bit different. With webinars, there is this guy, actually, yeah, this guy, you can check for webinars as well. And you want that. You want the registration to be required. And there's also a place where you can set up the fields. Since you're capturing all the data into Keap, I would recommend just keeping it simple inside of Zoom and just have name and email be required. They're not going through a Zoom registration form. They're doing it through Keap. We're just passing that data. And so just keep it simple and then go ahead and save that. This actually isn't even my account, so I'm not gonna save it. And then in plus this, let's log in here. Okay. And then I'm going to actually use a client's account here as well. Okay, so in here, we're going to click Add a Tool. And we're going to search for Zoom. And let's say we did a Zoom webinar, do a Zoom webinar connection. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to select the user, the Zoom user. So you want to make sure you select a user that has access to the webinar that was set up. So ideally the same user that you logged into Zoom with, right? And that one doesn't have any. This one doesn't have any either. Awesome. I was just in here playing with this yesterday. This client had everything all set up. Okay, we'll go back to configured tools. Here's a webinar they actually ran today. So we'll go ahead and edit. So you select the user, and then you select the actual webinar, right, that you set up in Zoom. And then you have a little bit of work to do. You do some field mapping, pretty straightforward, first name, last name, email, registration options. And here's where you're selecting your tags. Now, we've already created these tags inside of Keap, right? Our successful registration, well, we haven't. But if we had, then, and you want to set those up first, then you'll come in here and you'll say, okay, when it's successful, when the registration is successful, select that tag. And when it fails, apply this tag, right? And so this is what's going to happen is inside this sequence, we're going to talk to plus this is going to register with Zoom. If it's successful, it's going to apply the tag. If it's not successful, it's going to apply this tag, right? So that's what we're configuring here, right? We're going to set up a custom field inside the contact record. So back to our Keap account here. If you've never set up a custom field before, let me walk you through that. I'm going to open this up in a new tab. This is the same Keap account. And I'm going to go to the main menu. Under admin, I'm going to go to settings. And then here, set up custom fields for, leave it on contact, hit go. And we'll go ahead and add a custom field in one of our sections here. And we can call this our 5-day challenge join link. Right. You can leave that on text. I think it's probably a little safer to select the website type for the field type there. And then go ahead and click save. Right. Once you've done that, and again, I apologize, this isn't my account, so that field's not going to show up. But once you've done that, that field will show up here. So store the webinar join link here, and you're going to find that 5-day challenge field and use that field, select it for it to be stored. Okay. I don't store the webinar topic and the webinar start date and time and all that kind of stuff. I don't think it's important because you can put all that into your copy. You don't have to have that be merge fields. Okay. All right. Then we move down to this section, track who attended. Now, with a 5-day challenge, this may or may not be important. But if you want to, I would recommend just putting off to the side here. Attended, did not attend, right? So we'll do attended, did not attend. We can use trigger tags there and then put them into sequences where you can apply an activity tag. Just to keep track, you may, if they didn't attend, you may send them emails, hey, make sure you attend tomorrow, that kind of thing. But these are going to be trigger tags here. And once you've created those, you can select those tags here. I don't think that's an important part of the challenge, other than just tracking who attends and who doesn't. And then after the whole thing's over, you might follow up with non-attendees and invite them to the next one or something like that. But it's likely that not everyone attends every session. You've already got a bunch of emails going out during the challenge. So, when someone doesn't attend on day one, trying to remind them to attend on day two, in addition to these reminders, I think is a little excessive. So I don't generally set that up as part of the challenge, other than maybe just to track who attended at least once and who didn't attend at all. Because that's all you're going to get, because it's only one tag, even though you have 5 or 6 sessions. Okay. If you want to store their engagement during the webinar, like number of minutes attended and all that kind of stuff, you can set up custom fields and store that. I don't generally do that either. So basic stuff, go ahead and set it up. Then once you save it, you're going to get this URL here, right? So you're going to copy that URL and come back into our campaign. And we go into this sequence here, third-party webinar registration. And we're going to use the HTTP post option. And we're just going to paste that URL from plus this right in here and go ahead and mark it ready. And that's it. That's all you have to do. It's pretty straightforward. Mark that sequence ready and we're good to go. So these tags, again, let's create those tags. It's going to be trigger -5DC third party. You can call this whatever you want, but I'll call it third party webinar registration. Successful -start. Remember, our trigger tags always have an action on the end. Start. Okay, so then we'll add the trigger category and hit save there and save that. And then on this one, same thing, except we'll say not successful or failed or whatever. Not successful start, same tag name, but not successful. And then trigger as our category. Save that, hit save, and we're good to go. Again, you need to probably create those tags first so they show up in plus this, or you can create them in plus this on the fly. Okay, Lou asked, what site were you on to create the third-party registration? Is that in Keap? No, it's not. There's two different pieces to it. One is Zoom. Of course, we need to create our Zoom meeting inside of Zoom. And then to get Keap to talk to Zoom, because it doesn't talk directly, we use this tool called Plus This. Okay. All right. Plus This is a separate tool set. If you're interested in these tools, you can always go to boxoutmarketing.com/recommended. This is a page we put together that has all the tools that we recommend. And so if you go under Keap add-ons, plus this is the first one there. You can check that out. Fixture Funnel is another one that we highly recommend for various different purposes. And then webinars, Zoom, of course, is what we're using here. Easy Webinar is for like evergreen webinars and things like that. And it has a great deep integration with Keap. We're actually using Easy Webinar right now. So that's the platform that we use. And you can certainly use this for 5-day challenges as well. With Easy Webinar, instead of doing it the way we did it here, what you can do is you apply a tag. So instead of the HTTP post, just move that off to the side for now. Instead of the HTTP post, we apply a tag, and then we use Zapier to pick up that tag and do the registration with Easy Webinar. And then Easy Webinar will still apply a success or an error tag to get people going. Okay, so that's the difference, using plus this versus using Zapier. Zapier, you're going to have a tag here. Plus this, you're going to use an HTTP post. And a lot of the other tools use Zapier. So that's an option as well. Okay, I know this gets a little technical. We're kind of bogging down here, but I want to just pause and see, are we all okay with that part of things? You guys know how to set that up. I know I kind of jumped around and I wasn't using my real account, so it was a little bit weird. But let's just make sure that everyone's kind of on the same page here. You got a rough idea of how that all works and how to set it up before we move on. I'm going to get rid of this because we're not going to focus on that part. Okay. I'm not seeing any negative comments here, so we're going to just keep going. Whoops, I just deleted that sequence as well. Third party registration. Connect that here, connect that there, connect that there. Put our HTTP post back in, and we're basically good to go. Okay. Okay. All right, next, let's get going here. So one of the things that we talked about that we're going to address now is what if they upgrade, right? What if they upgrade? So what we're going to do here is, remember over here, we have this tag for the general registration called activity-5DC-general-registered. Okay. We're going to use that to know if they're upgrading or if they're just coming in straight to VIP. So in this decision diamond, we're going to say, if they have that tag, if their tags contains that 5-day challenge general registered tag, then they're going to go into congrats on upgrading, because we know that they only have that tag if they already registered for general. And if they already registered for general, the only way they're getting into this part of the campaign is if they upgraded to VIP. And then, of course, the VIP regular registration welcome, we're going to do if the tags doesn't contain that same tag. So if they haven't already registered for a general registration, then we're going to just take them into the regular VIP welcome. But if they had already registered general, then we're going to send them into the congrats on upgrading. Okay, that makes sense. Everybody with me there? So congrats on upgrading. We can connect that there as well. But congrats on upgrading. We're going to go ahead and put our tag. So here we're going to do a VIP tag, right? So we're going to do activity dash 5-day challenge dash VIP dash registered. Okay. So we'll just create that one. Now we're also going to add another one here. That one just tells us that they're registered for VIP, but I also want to track the fact that that they upgraded, right? So we'll do 5-day challenge dash VIP upgraded. Okay, so they're going to get 2 tags in that situation. And in fact, they're going to get a third. So we need to stop the general communication. If they were an upgrade, we need to stop all that stuff for the general admission. So we're going to use a trigger tag here, trigger dash 5-day challenge dash VIP upgraded dash stop. Remember, that's a stop situation up there. Trigger. Okay, so we're going to use those 3 tags, and I'll come back to that in a minute if you guys want. So you can look at all those tags. But while we're talking about it, we're going to go up here. See this upgrade to VIP goal? This is what we're going to use to stop all the general stuff. So that's where we're going to use that tag. Okay, so we're going to do trigger dash 5-day challenge dash, whoops, VIP upgraded stop. We're going to select that one. So when that stop tag is applied, it'll pull them out of all that stuff. And that's going to get applied right here in this congrats on upgrading sequence. Okay. Now, if they purchase the VIP upgrade and they get into this sequence and that tag gets applied and then it achieves that goal, remember our rule around trigger tags in the way. Our rule is that trigger tags always need to get removed. And so what we're going to do is go into this sequence a little prematurely, and we're going to remove that trigger tag right away. Okay, so trigger dash 5-day challenge dash VIP upgraded stop. We always want to make sure we remove our trigger tags. We don't want to leave those lingering around. Now, in this case, it really doesn't matter because they're probably not going to sign up for the challenge again. And if they did, would they sign up for general again and then also upgrade again? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But they're unnecessary on the record. And there's no reason to leave all that clutter. So we're just going to remove our trigger tags. They are used for one purpose and one purpose only. And that purpose is to achieve the goal. Once the goal is achieved, we can remove the tag. Okay, so now we need to get into the rest of the congrats on upgrading sequence and just make sure we do what we need to do here. All right, so we're applying some tags. We also need to remove a tag, and that is we're going to remove the trigger tag that got us in here, which is the successful registration tag. Trigger dash 5-day challenge, successful start, right? Registration successful start. So we're going to remove that tag, and then we're going to send an email. Welcome to VIP, congrats on upgrading. Okay, pretty simple. That's the entire sequence here for the upgrade people. All right, we'll mark that ready. Other than the copy, we've functionally done everything there. For our VIP registration welcome, regular people that didn't upgrade, they just signed up for VIP. We're going to also remove, I tend to prefer to remove the trigger tag first. I did it backwards in that last sequence, but we'll do 5-day challenge dash registration successful start. We're going to remove that tag, and then we're going to apply our VIP registered tag. Okay, VIP registered, because we need to tag these people as VIP registered. They're not also going to get the tag for upgrading because these people didn't upgrade. And we don't need to apply the tag to trigger the upgrade process because these people didn't upgrade. They just came in straight into VIP. So then we will send them the VIP welcome email. Okay, there we go. We got our email there for VIP welcome, and we should be good. All right, Jack is saying that he can't hear me. Audio is now gone. No problem with audio on other people. So maybe it's just something weird with Jack. Okay, good to know. Those things always freak me out. Like maybe for the last 10 minutes, no one has heard a word I said. That has happened before. So, all right, Jack, hopefully you get that figured out. But it sounds like the system is working anyways. Okay. All right. Here we might also do, just like we did with the general registration, we might do that VIP welcome text as well. Okay. And then just as a reminder as well, I'm going to throw this on the canvas here as our note. Part of this welcome message is, hey, make sure you join our Facebook group and do the assignment and whatever else you want them to do there. Okay. Okay, so that sequence is ready to go. And we'll go ahead and go back. And then, we're moving kind of left to right here. Let's, oh, let me just address this. See how this decision diamond is green? That means we've configured it. This one is still just gray. We're not going to have any rules. When people come in with general registration, they're going to go into upgrade to VIP and the general challenge reminder. So we don't have any rules on it, but the system does require us just to open it, acknowledge that we're not going to have any rules, and then go back out. And so now it shows up green. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is, what if it fails? What's our internal notification here? So let's just open that up. Internal notifications are pretty easy. There's a couple different ways to do them. You could send an email, right? So you can send an email to someone on your team, or you can use the note feature. What I'm going to do here, though, is I'm going to first remove our trigger tag. Okay, so we're going to remove 5-day challenge, third-party webinar registration, not successful start. Remove that trigger tag. We're going to apply a tag. Okay, and this will be an activity tag, activity dash 5-day challenge dash third party registration dash failed, something like that. Create activity, apply, and save. Then once we have those two tags, so we're removing the trigger tag, we're applying an activity tag so that we can put on our dashboard a saved search of anybody who had a failed registration, so we can know about those. And then we're going to use, I like to use apply note. So we're going to call this internal notification. And I just come in here, change the action type to other. And I'll say 5-day challenge registration failed. And then I like to put in the person's name right here. So we'll do name, first name, last name. And in this particular case, I don't need any more information other than that. So I'm just going to copy that whole thing and paste it into the description as well. And then notify user, I can select the user that I want to get notified who's going to take care of this, right? So I'll choose Mike here. Mark that ready. Good to go. Mark the sequence ready, and we're out. Now, there's one other thing that I'd like to do. What if someone signs up, they pay for VIP, the registration fails, Mike gets notified, and Mike figures out how to fix it. So now they go into the successful registration. Well, what we're going to do here is we're going to remove that failed activity tag, right? 5-day challenge. Right here, registration failed, third-party registration failed. We want to remove that when someone comes in successfully. Now, most people will come in successfully. They'll never have that tag, so it's no big deal. But we're going to go ahead and remove it for anybody who happens to fail. Now, that could happen if they are upgrading as well. So we'll go into this one, and we'll remove it here as well. Third-party registration failed. Okay. That way, again, if we have some saved searches on the dashboard, we can keep track and know, okay, yeah, we had 3 people that failed, but it got resolved. They're no longer in that saved search because that tag has been removed, and we're good to go. Okay, now to make life easier on ourselves, now I would recommend when you build this, when you do it for reals, not that you're not doing it for reals now, but when you're ready to write all the copy and put all the copy in here, don't don't put all the copy into the VIP one yet. Build out the general, get it all fully built out, and then copy those sequences. Now you can copy by hitting control, click and drag, and that makes a copy, and then just relabel it VIP and update whatever you need to update in there. Or you can also just do this. Here, let's get rid of this guy. Inside the sequence, we can copy. So we copy from campaign, and we'll choose our stage 3. Remember our tag naming system. It's helpful here. Stage 3. There we go. 5-day challenge. And we're going to copy our general challenge reminder sequence. Boom, there they all are, right? Now, there's going to be something different though in these sequences. Let's back out. Our general challenge sequence, all the links are going to the Facebook group, right? Do the pre-challenge homework, get in the Facebook group and get engaged, blah, blah, blah. During the challenge, go in there, post your homework, go in there to watch the sessions live. So those links are all going to go to the Facebook group. To make this much easier on yourself and anyone else who is engaging in your campaigns, I recommend using campaign links. So from our actions drop down here, we're going to click on links, and we're going to click add link and call this Facebook group. And then we're going to put our link in there. I don't have a link for a Facebook group right now, so I'm just going to put, whatever I want in there. Just put facebookgroup.com, which is not real, and then hit the save button there. Now, on the other hand, for people who register VIP or who upgrade to VIP, we can give them the Facebook link group or Facebook group link as well, because we want them to go in there and post their homework and engage and do all that kind of stuff. But during the VIP challenge, they're going to get a different email, a different link that says, hey, since you're VIP, click here. You can actually join the Zoom, right? And so for the Zoom, we're going to use not a campaign link, because we're using the merge field. Remember, we saved in the plus this setup, we saved the unique Zoom join link into a custom field. So we're going to use that as we set up those emails. So again, I'll go into the during challenge emails VIP, and I'm going to copy from the general. Okay. Same way I did the other one. Stage 3. All right, we're here. Stage 3. See, this is our sandbox account where we just make a mess on purpose. And you can see the hassle that it creates when you don't have good naming conventions. All right. And then here we're going to go to the during challenge emails general and copy all those in. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into one of these emails and pretend that we're setting it up. So I'll go into the first one here. This is day 1 challenge starting now. So this is for VIPs. I'm just going to use this plain one. We're going to say starting now. And we're going to come in here. We're going to say blah, blah, blah. It's super exciting. Click here to join. Okay. Like that. Here, let's make the font a little bit bigger. Probably because I like it bigger, probably so you can see better. So click here to join. And then below that, I'm just going to leave the cursor there, and I'm going to use this merge. And for the merge, I'm going to find my custom field. And we created a custom field, I thought we did anyways, for the, here we go, webinar join link. I thought we created a 5-day challenge one, but maybe not. So webinar join link, webinar unique join link, whatever you called yours, you're going to select that field, and it's going to pop right down here like this. What you want to do is copy that. Once you copy it, you can go ahead and delete it, and then select the text that you want to link. Click your little link icon here. Sometimes it takes a second for this little guy to pop down. I'm not sure why, but just be patient. And once it pops down for the URL, you'll just paste in that merge field. Because again, plus this is going to populate that field with their unique link. It's unique to them. When they click on it, it will track their attendance. And so we're going to merge in that field into the URL for that link. Then we'll click insert link, right? You can do the same thing for a button. Like if you wanted to put a button, hey, join here, make it a fancier color. It's not so fancy, but hey. And then button link right here, choose URL and paste in that merge field again. That's the way you do that. Okay, mark that one ready. So in these emails for VIP, we're going to go and make all those changes. If we copied it down from the general, these are all going to have some verbiage about, okay, join us in the Facebook group here. But for VIP, we're going to say, join us on Zoom here. And we're going to change the links from the Facebook group. See, in the general, let's go back up to the general. We'll open up that same email in the general. For general admission people, to join us on Facebook here, instead of using the merge field, what we're going to do is use the campaign link. So we'll select that text there. Then we'll click the link icon here. Instead of URL, we'll change this to campaign link and we'll select Facebook group link. Okay. And we'll do that on all the emails and select that Facebook group link there. The reason that's important to use those links is because the campaign links is because if you ever wanted to change it, let's say you ran the challenge and it was great. Now you're going to run another challenge. You want to start a new Facebook group for it. All you have to do is update that campaign link right here under links. And now it's updated in all your emails. Instead of having to go in and edit every single email, open the email, edit the text, click on the link, edit the link, save it, go back, do that a bazillion times. There's a lot of emails in a 5-day challenge campaign. So use campaign links wherever you can. It makes it much, much easier. Okay, so let's pretend we updated all of the VIP challenge reminder emails and the text messages, and we updated all of the during the challenge emails and text messages. So we're good to go there. And then we've got our bonus session here. We're going to promote our CTA, our call to action, the offer, as well as the bonus session. Now, again, this is going to look very similar, right? It's timers and emails and timers and text messages and things like that. And so you'll structure this in a way that makes sense for you, but I'm going to do like CTA 1. So I'm going to try and drive them to the offer, and I'm going to have a text message, SMS CTA 1. And then I'm going to wait another day or wait some more time, maybe later that same day. And I'm going to promote the bonus session, right? Bonus session, promo 1. And I definitely want to get them on the bonus session. So I'm going to send them a text about that as well. Bonus session. And then I'm going to wait and send another promo, the morning of the bonus session, maybe bonus session, promo 2. And then I've got another timer. Oops. The bonus session starting now, right? This is right as it's starting. And a text to remind them, bonus session starting now. Another timer, and then a post bonus session follow-up, right? Post bonus session follow-up. Maybe there's another, CTA here. Hey, now you've been to the bonus session, go sign up, go purchase. And maybe another last text message here, post bonus session CTA. Okay, that's a rough idea. Nothing super spectacular there. The copy is, what's most important. This is basically just after day 5, telling them about the bonus session, tell them about the bonus session again, tell them the morning of, tell them when it's starting, and then afterwards, get them to go purchase. Okay? And we'll mark that one ready. Pretend we got all the copy in there. And then we have a cart closing sequence. This is, again, same thing. This is more timers and emails and text messages, right? So not rocket science here. We're just gonna now this is the countdown, right? So we're starting to tell them now that the offer is gonna expire and they better get on it and they're gonna miss out on all the great stuff. Start closing two, start closing three. All right, so we have a handful of emails here, and maybe a text message sprinkled in here and there. So we'll just go ahead and copy all this down, connect it, do cart closing 4, cart closing 5, 6, last chance, and a final text message, last chance, or something like that. Okay, mark that ready. We're good to go. We got our purchase. So we're going to configure that with whatever product. And then here in this challenge conversion and fulfillment, we're going to go ahead and apply a tag. This is going to be an activity tag. Activity dash 5-day challenge. And whatever product you're selling here, you might want to put the product name dash purchased. Okay, create that, apply the activity category, and we're selecting that we're going to apply that. Now, if you need to trigger fulfillment through a tag, you can go ahead and select that tag here. I'm going to assume that our fulfillment campaign is going to be triggered by the purchase goal in the other campaign as well. So I'm just going to leave this particular tag here alone by itself. And I can use that tag now, again, as a save search on my dashboard to track conversions through my 5-day challenge. Okay. I kind of was going fast through those last few sequences because they're all kind of the same thing. It's just timers and emails and text messages. So I'm going to come back here and see now if we have questions or problems with what we have built. Give you guys a minute to kind of finalize what you're doing. We're basically done. So let's chat here about, we could get into strategy. We can talk about your strategies. I didn't know how long this was going to take, so I blocked off 3 hours. We got it done in 2 hours. But we can talk about your strategy. We can talk about how to get this stuff built. Some of you are like, okay, this was awesome. They were already familiar with the campaign builder. You followed the steps. You've got it all framed out just like me. Others of you might be kind of like, ooh, this is heavy lifting, and I'm not sure I ever want to do this ever again. Where can I go to get some help? So you might be familiar already with our service called The Factory. I'll just pull that up here. So if you go to boxoutmarketing.com and click on The Factory in the main menu, you'll come to this page. You can watch this little video where I explain it. There's options here. So basically, it's a subscription service to get the technical implementation done that you need to get done. We can build 5-day challenges for you. We can build evergreen webinars. We can build lead generation campaigns. We can build landing pages. We build with Plus This, Fix Your Funnel, Keap, ClickFunnels, Active Campaign, all the above. We're familiar with all the platforms, and we can take care of all this stuff for you. We have 3 different options. You can check those out. What I recommend is that you click on Get Help, and you book a call with us, so we can just talk through it with you and see if that's the right fit for you. The Factory is not the best fit for everybody. It's a great fit for certain people. So yeah, check it out. We'd love to help you there. We're able to offer our service at a much lower rate than a lot of agencies out there because we're not necessarily doing all the strategy and the copy and the design. We do mainly the technical implementation. So anyways, want to make sure you're aware of that if you're struggling with this stuff and you feel like you need some help. We also have a membership that's $97 a month where you can get a lot of training on this type of thing. And we also have weekly live workshops where we work on this kind of stuff together in those weekly calls. And so you could get some support that way as well. Okay, let's get to your questions. I'm seeing some questions come through here. Barbara, we have been neglecting our current active clients as we look at refining our membership. So I'm going to absolutely tweak this to be a challenge to our already paying and active members. I'm excited. Great. I love it. Yeah, it doesn't have to be new customer generation process, right? If you want to re-engage some existing customers. The 5-day challenge is a great way to do that. All right. Jason says, how do you say to handle the product for the upgrade? Okay. This is a really good question. One way to do that may be simpler for most people than what I suggested is actually create a VIP upgrade product. VIP upgrade product, and use that in an order form. And then that's the only change that you would make to our campaign, because still when they come through, if they already have the general tag, they'll route up here to congrats on upgrading. That'll apply this tag. It'll pull them out and we'll be good to go. That would probably be easier. What I was suggesting was to set up 2 order forms. One's regular VIP registration. The other one, it requires that you put a little custom code on the order form to apply a discount on that particular order form without applying it on the other one. It's a little bit of a hassle if you're not familiar with coding. And so the easier way would probably be just to have 2 different order forms, one regular VIP product, the other one is the VIP upgrade product. And so in these emails, upgrade to VIP, you're sending them to the order form that has the VIP upgrade product in it. When they purchase, they go through this whole process. Since they already have the general registration tag, they get routed up here. That applies this tag, which pulls them out, and you're good to go. Okay. All right. What happens if you get very few VIPs registered? It's a good question. That's always a risk anytime you do any kind of campaign like this, where you've got webinar invitees or invitors. Yeah, invitees. Or you're inviting people into a webinar. What if no one shows up? Something like this. What if only 2 people show up to the 5-day challenge training? Look, just smile and make the best of it. It'll be awesome. There's not really much else you can do. Now, if you're in the middle of the promotion and you realize that, oh man, VIP just isn't selling well, we're not going to have many people on that live call. What you might want to do is reach out to some, for lack of a better word, call them VIP prospects or VIP customers, and invite them to join the VIP group for free. Right. You can say, hey, look, I'm doing this thing. I noticed you weren't registered yet, but I really want you to be there. I'd be happy to give you a free VIP admission. Will you join us? So you could do something like that to just kind of artificially, or maybe not so artificially, boost up those VIP numbers. And sometimes that's great. You get someone who's a customer, or maybe they're a prospect and they just haven't made a decision yet, and you bring them into that inner circle for free. They feel the special treatment, and maybe they reciprocate. All right. Thanks, Roxanne. Appreciate the comments. Thanks, Camille. Brett says the factory is awesome. Brett has interacted with us there a bit. All right. Sam says, I'm confused about what the web form before they purchase the challenge is for. Are they just saying, yes, hand raise, I'm interested, so tell me more? Yes. What you're trying to do is, and this is not necessary, right? What we're trying to do is not hammer the entire list with the full promotion sequence. We're using this initial promotion sequence to get people to raise their hand and say, yep. And then we push harder on those people if they don't buy, and we keep going. Also, if you're advertising in particular, you want to capture the lead first, so that even if they don't sign up for this, we can flow them into other promotions and offer them other things and continue to drip on them and whatever. So, so that may be the more important part, is advertising traffic, cold traffic, partnership traffic, whatever, is definitely, you're going to want to put them right into an opt-in form first instead of straight to an order form, because they may not know you yet. They're not familiar with you yet. We need to get them in, do a little nurture, and get them to purchase. And maybe you take your internal list and you go straight to the order form or straight to the sales page where your cold traffic comes into the opt-in. Totally up to you. But those are a couple of thoughts there. And yes, this is essentially an abandoned cart sequence. That's exactly what that is. Okay. Yeah, Camille called that out as an abandoned cart sequence. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, so Sam's asking, and those new people need an email confirmation sequence too, yes? Okay, well, whatever. Whatever you think about that. um, yeah, so if you want to do email confirmation, yeah, you can stick that here, do that there. Personally would never make email confirmation a requirement to move forward in the campaign because just a lot of people don't do it. And so I'd leave it out here as its own thing to try and get people to double opt in. Truthfully, in my campaigns, I never do double opt in. I just don't. Double opt in to me means nothing. What's most important now, and this becomes more and more true every day, is engagement. Are people opening and clicking and replying to your emails? If so, then they are engaged, and the AI systems will deliver your stuff into their inbox. If they're not engaging very regularly, then the AI systems will say, okay, well, that person's not very interested. So we're going to start putting your emails into the promotions folder. And then if that continues, you might end up in the spam folder. And then if that continues, Keap might automatically opt that person out, right? So double opt-in doesn't do anything for any of that. It's more of a psychological thing. It's more of like for the recipient themselves, them saying, yes, I want to get your stuff, so that later they are less likely to complain or opt out or whatever because they remember confirming that they got their stuff, or that they agreed to get your stuff. But I don't think most people actually remember that, and I don't think most people actually really care. Um, so I just don't do it. That's that's my opinion on it. All right, Roxanne asks, when you're working with folks in the factory, do you provide a checklist of the emails needed for the campaign? Yes, we often do. We're on a lot of our campaigns that we build, strategies that we build for people. We will provide those lists. In some cases, we don't have those lists generated, but all you have to do is ask, and we'll just happily give that to you. So yeah, no problem at all there. Okay. All right. What other questions or concerns do you have about the campaign or about your strategy? Um, some of you might have been following along, thinking about this, going like, "Yeah, you know what? I would have built that a little different way, and maybe my way's better." I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear what you guys were thinking as we were building it. John says that's a lot of timers to control for the reminders and during emails to keep track of. Yes. Yes, there's a lot going on here, and you're absolutely right. There's almost no way around it. Like I said before, we recently built something like this for a client where all the timers were field timers. It was all based on the start time, and so that they could run it evergreen. And that's even more of a mind bending thing to figure out. It's like, because you base everything off of that start time, so you always have to think about the relationship of your timer to that start time. Okay, this one's gonna be 4 hours before, 8 hours before, 2 days before, etc. And so there's a lot of math involved in some of those things. Okay. Jason, could you have put the stop trigger tag removal after the stop tag goal? Yeah, I actually do that most of the time. Right after the goal, remove trigger tag. Yep. That's the way I typically do it, Jason, and then remove that trigger tag right there. Um, I think in this situation, I was trying to just keep the canvas as clean as possible for you guys. So I had it over here. But truthfully, that's confusing because then you forget that that tag is being removed way over here, right? so, um, so that's a good call out. I should probably in these trainings just do it the way I always do it because that lines up a little bit better. Because my thought always is, okay, whenever we apply a trigger tag, the first thing is to remove that trigger tag. Always, always, always. And so I always do it in the sequence right after. Um, that's just the way I do it. Okay. All right. Hey, Kristen, thanks for the shout out. Kristen says the factory is awesome. She's one of our great clients. And yes, you're right, Kristen. Evergreen campaigns are complex. They get tricky. They get tricky. It's hard to kind of tease out everything. All right, Roxanne, great question. Roxanne asks, how do you know if everything is running as planned? Okay, so ideally, and this happens rarely in the real world, but ideally, you get all this built out well before you actually run the campaign, right? So, like at least a week before you're going to put real people in there. And the reason being is once it's all built out, what you do is you go and you fill out this form yourself. And then you look at all of the stuff that happens on your record. So let me this is a test. This is a test account, and so I don't know what I have actually on my record right here, but watch this. I'm gonna pull up my contact record. And what you do is you go to campaigns, go to the campaigns tab, and see, I'm not currently in any active sequences. But what you do is you go here and you look at recent campaign history and say, okay, I fill out the form and I can see that I got the tag and I got the confirmation email and all that worked. And then you come down here to upcoming campaign items. And again, I don't have anything upcoming on this particular contact record, but in the upcoming campaign items, I'll see a list just like this, but I'll see the date and time that it's going to run in the future. Right. So I can see all the emails that are scheduled. Say, okay, yeah, that looks all right. Those are all going to happen on the right dates. And then you have to go and kind of manually push yourself through some of this stuff, right? So I would recommend going to the order form and filling it out, use your own credit card, and then just refund yourself later. But fill it out, make sure that you land on the right thank you page, make sure that it triggers the goal, make sure you end up in this sequence. Once you do that, come back, refresh this page. You'll see that you're in the new sequence here. You'll go down to the upcoming items and you'll look at all of them and say, okay, the general registration email went out. Now I'm in the upgrade to VIP. I'm also in the general challenge reminder. I can see all of those emails queued up here. I can see the schedule, the date and time for each one, and everything seems to be working well. Now, then what you do is next to an email that's in upcoming items, it'll have a button that says send. Once you confirm that all the timing is right, click the send button next to all of them and push them all out. You don't have to wait until those dates. You can push that send button and receive them all right now. The reason you want to do that is you want to open them up and read them and click on them. Why do that? Well, read them because for some odd reason, I always catch the typos when I actually get it in my inbox versus while I'm building it inside of Keap. I don't know why, but I see them better in my inbox. So you'll catch more typos. Also, click the links to make sure they work. That's really important. Click all those links, make sure they go to the right place. Make sure if, we didn't set any of this up, but if you have links that are applying tags or triggering things or whatever, make sure they trigger the things. So that's the way you test. You put yourself through it as a real contact. Make sure you go through every sequence. You make sure here in the upcoming items that everything is scheduled on the right schedule. And you can effectively test pretty much every aspect of a campaign like this by just putting your contact record through it and pushing out all the pieces and checking on the timing and making sure everything runs. Okay. Once you've done all that, so Roxanne had a follow-up question, or how often does someone need to review the campaign to ensure it's running smoothly? Once you've done all that, I wouldn't feel a need to come back often and check and make sure that it's running smoothly. What you might do is you come back occasionally and look at the campaign in reporting view. And I don't think we have any well, here's one with a couple of fake contacts in it. Let me show you what happens when you put a campaign in reporting view. Come on. It's taking a minute, but when you get it in reporting view, there's a couple different views. One is, show me the data in the last 24 hours or 7 days or 30 days or whatever. And then there's another view called current. So when I'm looking at a campaign to troubleshoot it, I look mostly at current. So I use this drop down here and I flip it to current. What I'm looking for here is, are people getting hung up? Are they getting stuck somewhere? So in this sequence, I've got 2 people that are active. So that means they're currently going through the sequence. They've got upcoming items, etc. Here, I've got 3 people that are queued. Queued means they got to the end of the sequence and there's nothing left for them to do, and they haven't done the step that takes them out of the sequence yet. And so that sometimes can be an indicator that people are getting to the end of a sequence, they're queued, and they're not supposed to be queued there. Like something's not right. And so that some in this case it's not, but sometimes that can be a red flag for me. So I'll come back and look at the reports occasionally, and I'll come back and look at it like this as well, and make sure like, okay, we had a certain number of people that started into this sequence. They're going through this or started in the goal. They're going through the sequence. Things are happening. Like I can look and see that everything seems to be flowing correctly. But once I've gone through and tested everything thoroughly, I really don't feel a great need to come back and check on things occasionally. All right. Barbara asks, thanks, Tyler, for my situation. I'm going to do a landing page so they express interest in the challenge. Then I need to determine if they are active members. So I still have two main branches, but was able to set it up very similar to a campaign. Yeah, cool. Yeah. So you're not necessarily selling a VIP, but you're going to split them on current members or non-members, and then treat those slightly differently, right? Cool. All right. Thanks, Jason. Jason says another vote for the factory. He's also been a factory customer of ours for a long time. Yeah, Camille, I'm with you. She says, this is why I keep asking Keap for campaign date fields. It's such a great idea. Just like we have campaign links. Let's come back into our 5-day challenge campaign here. Remember this drop down that we used, this action drop down, to set those links so that we can use that same link throughout the whole thing. How great would it be if we could go in and set up a date field, and then we could run the whole campaign in relationship to that date? Then we don't have to create a custom field and set that field and all that kind of stuff. What Camila is suggesting is a great idea, long overdue in my opinion. It would be great if we had that, but since we don't, there are still ways we can get around it. All right, Samantha is asking, what's the factory's turnaround time on a multi-phase campaign like this? Okay, so we can build something like this very, very quickly. The longest part of the process usually is the copy and the creative, right? So if you came to us and you say, hey, look, factory people, we've already got all of our copy written. We have our landing page designed and whatnot. I would expect we have this back to you in 2 or 3 days max. But almost always we are waiting on clients for a copy, or we build it out in just a few days like that, and then it goes back, and then they want tweaks, which is fine. So it'll go back and forth for a few days while we get everything super dialed in. But the actual build, I mean, we all built it together in 2 hours, so you can see that it really doesn't take that much time. Now there's a lot more time involved, right? Actually building the landing page, designing it, actually setting up every single email, making sure the links work and all that kind of stuff. So there's definitely more time that goes into it, but it doesn't, this kind of thing doesn't take weeks and weeks. It takes weeks and weeks in real life because, again, oftentimes we're waiting on copy, or we're waiting on design, or the client doesn't have a Zoom account, so we're waiting for them to get that Zoom account created, and then we need plus this, and like there are things that hold up the process. But the actual build, if you have all the tools and you have all the copy and stuff, generally just takes a few days. Camille asked, does the factory include copy? No, it doesn't. Those who have known us for many years know that we used to do a lot more strategy and copy and that kind of stuff. And in recent years, we've really focused on technical implementation. It's what we do great. We can do it better and faster and cheaper than just about anybody. And so that's what we do. Now, Camille, you're familiar with the new AI copy generator that Keap has created. It's not a bad tool. I would certainly use it as a jumpstart on a lot of stuff like this. So they don't have a 5-day challenge, template in there, but you can certainly use kind of a standard lead generation campaign template in their AI tool for the first part of this to get people signed up. The rest of it, of course, you could go in. I think they have a webinar reminder template. You could use that in the AI copy generator to generate a basis for your general challenge reminders and your VIP challenge reminders. So you could use those tools, and you could use Jasper for some of this, maybe. Probably not quite as well, but the Keap AI tool could get you partway down the road here. Okay, Roxanne says, can you recommend a good resource for campaign copy framework so that your customers can be more organized? Yeah, it's a really good question. We definitely recommend, well, There's so many options out there, right? And it's a little tricky. I really do believe that in a couple of years, the Keap AI copy generator will be one of the best options out there for um and unless you want to just go hire a copywriter, right? A good copywriter. But they're building all these frameworks within there for the different types of campaigns that we so often run when we're using Keap. It really is a great option. Let me see if I can find that URL for you. I think I have it bookmarked. There it is. All right, there you go. Camille beat me to it. Plays.keep.app. Yeah, I forgot that they put it on that really simple URL. Yeah, Sam's asking, are there some campaign market or campaign frameworks in the marketplace? Not strictly on copy, I don't think, but there are certainly campaigns in the marketplace that include some basic copy that you could go find. We have a bunch of them that we built over the years. Again, if you become a member of our Success Lab, and then also that's included in the factory, we have a whole bunch of campaigns, kind of basic campaign templates that have basic copy in them, and so that's a good place to start as well. Um, if you're familiar with Donald Miller, it's not, his framework isn't necessarily, um, the story brand framework isn't necessarily uh, perfectly tailored to this kind of lead generation and conversion style copy. But it's a great framework to help non-copywriters get their thoughts straight on how to talk about your product or your service in a non-salesy yet persuasive way. Right. So I definitely recommend at least reading the book Story Brand by Donald Miller. I think it's called How to Build a Story Brand, the official name. But yeah, it's one of those things. Like, I really believe every business owner should get semi-familiar with good persuasive copy. Not that you have to be a copywriter. I don't recommend that you necessarily put in all the time and training to become a really good copywriter. But in order for you to drive on the marketing of your business, whether it's hiring a copywriter or whatever, you need to understand what good copy looks like. And you need to understand the pieces of it. This is one of the things that we teach in marketing strategy school, how you as the business owner can really own the copy and the strategy of your marketing without becoming a copywriter and a strategist. You have to know enough about it, and you have to know the right pieces. You have to know where to push, right? So, for example, just about every business owner can hire a sales rep and help that sales rep become more successful. How do you do that? Well, you know how to talk about your product. You know basic metrics to track and to follow, right? Well, how many calls did you make today? Oh, I made 3. Well, how do you expect to make any sales if you only make 3 calls a day? You need to make 20 calls a day, and blah 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 blah, right? What's your talk time? And like, it's pretty basic to start looking at that stuff and be able to figure out how to improve performance. It's a lot harder, or at least it's a lot less intuitive with marketing. And so in marketing strategy school, it's one of the things that we teach is how you as the business owner can set up the structure, how you can create the strategy, and how you can drive on all of this in a way that makes it so that you can own it instead of just delegate it and just hope that someone else actually does it. You can actually own it and then delegate and help those people drive results. So, all right. Yeah, a few comments here for Donald Miller's story brand. Camille and Sam both commenting that they've used it or that they like it. It is a good framework, I think. But again, it's not so tailored to this kind of persuasive marketing. It's more tailored to maybe kind of a website experience or a brochure experience where people are coming and consuming some content on their own. But again, it helps you think right about stuff, think correctly. It's my good grammar coming out. All right, what other questions do we have? sounds like some of you may be interested in the factory. If you are, just like I said, go on the website, go to boxoutmarketing.com, uh, click on the, you know, chat with us or consult button or whatever, and schedule some time with us, and we can talk through that with you and help you determine if that's a good option. Um, and uh, and yeah, we'd love to help you with this kind of stuff. If you just want more training, if you're like, yeah, this was like the funnest thing I've ever done, building this campaign, which some of you might feel that way, a lot of you won't. But if some of you are like, wow, I loved this, this was really fun, then sign up for our Success Lab. That's a great group. We have certification courses on Keap. You want to become a campaign building master? Get into Success Lab. Go through all the coursework there. You'll learn a ton. And again, we have those live weekly calls you can get on to chat with us live, to get help, get support that you need, etc. Veronica's like, yeah, the nerd in me really dug this. That's cool. Me too. I love this stuff. I talk to friends and family about it, and their eyes glaze over, and they're like, "What the heck are you talking about?" But those of us who are super nerdy, this is a lot of fun, right? All right, very cool. Okay. Any other questions about kind of the overall strategy here, or the flow of the campaign? Does all this logically make sense to you guys? One thing we didn't do is I didn't teach you about how the campaign builder works and the logic behind it. I kind of assumed that most of you get it. And I think most of you do. I recognize a lot of your names, so I know that you've been in the community for a while. But the basic logic here is goals, which is all these circle things over here. Goals get achieved, and when they get achieved, they start sequences that are connected to the right. It's very important that you always work in a left to right fashion, right? If you start going in opposite directions, you're going to screw stuff up. So this goal, when it gets achieved, will start the sequence on the right. Any goal on the right of that sequence will stop that sequence, right? So this one stops this sequence, and this goal starts the sequence. Very, very, very basic, very simple. Now, it's important to know that in this left to right flow, that logic still holds true all the way down the line. So for example, if we do something like this, where we've got a whole bunch of sequences and branches and various different things, and we have a goal at the end, well, guess what? This goal doesn't stop just these two sequences. It also stops this sequence and this sequence. It will pull people all the way forward in a left to right fashion from wherever they are in that connection all the way to that goal, if that goal gets achieved. Right? We already talked about how these goals can be achieved by contacts in the campaign or any contact. So you want to be careful about that. Any goal at the start that doesn't have anything connected to the left will always be achievable by any contact. But once they have things to the left of them, like this one and this one, then you need to be aware of that option for any contact. Okay. And then the running man shows up and you're good to go. So that's the basic logic with Keap. It's really quite brilliant. You know, the more companies out there try and replicate what Keap does, the more you realize how brilliant this thing is. I have yet to see another campaign builder that has the logic power that Keap does. Most of the other campaign builders operate vertically. And to me, it just is not as intuitive, and they don't have the same ability to branch and segment, and the way the campaigns work down the line like this, where you can achieve a goal and stop all this stuff up here, really facilitates much cleaner campaign building. In Active Campaign, for example, you end up with campaigns like this that you're checking at every juncture. You're checking, is this person a customer yet? If so, pull them out. And then again here, are they a customer yet? If so, pull them out, route them out. Over here, are they a customer yet? If so, pull them out. Because they don't have the ability to pull them out on the end all the way back through. And so you end up with all these silly, branches in the campaign where you're checking to see it, checking on a status to do things that are so easily done inside of Keap. It really is a brilliant system. I'll stop raving about it for a minute, see what questions you guys have come up with. All right, Roxanne says, it's all very cool, but then there's the reality of getting things done right. Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of ways that this stuff can go wrong if things aren't set up right. And there's a lot of time that goes into it. Again, we've kind of built out the framework of this in a couple hours, but there's a lot more time that goes into setting up every single email, configuring every little thing, and testing it, making sure it's right. And then, of course, the copy and the strategy and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. All right, Roxanne, how do you get that blue drag and drop to move block of objects? Yeah, good question. So hold down Shift and then click on the canvas in a blank area and then just drag. And then you'll get that blue highlight. You'll select, you have to cover completely whatever things you want to select. So like the upgrade to VIP right there, it's only covered halfway. So that actually won't be selected. But if I cover it completely, then it will be selected. Then I can move that block of things around. Or if I hold down Control and click and drag, then I can make a copy of all that stuff, right? Whoops. Let's select that again. Shift, click and drag, and then Control, click and drag on the items, and it copies. Oh, it's not doing it because my decision diamond is in there. Watch this. Select all the way to there. Then I can click and drag and that should work. There you go. See, so it made a copy of everything and everything inside of it, right? All the stuff inside of those sequences and everything is all copied in there. Then I can also shift, click and drag, and then just hit delete on my keyboard and delete all that stuff all at once. I'm kind of a fanatic about hotkeys. So if you're ever concerned about, hey, is there a better way to do this? Can I just click one button or one key on my keyboard and do that faster? There probably is a way. I'm happy to share that with you. Yeah, so let's just go through those steps again. Shift, then click and drag to highlight what you want, to select what you want, right? Then let go of everything. When you let go, what you selected will have this little dashed line around it, and all the elements will have that little red X. Okay, that's how you know it's selected. Then you can click on any one of them. So here, let me select multiple items again. See, this one has that red X, this has red X, this has red X. They all have that little dashed line around them. I can click on any one of them, click, hold, drag, and it'll move the whole group of things, right? Put back. As long as they're still selected, I can keep moving them wherever I want. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Brett, is there a hotkey to do a search in Keap Pro? No, I don't think there is. I tested that when it first came out, so unless they recently added it. What Brett's asking about is when you're inside the interface here, if you do Control Q on your keyboard, Control Q moves my cursor immediately up into the search bar here. So I can just immediately start typing and find a contact or whatever. So instead of having to move my mouse all the way up there and click inside there, I can just hit Control Q and start typing. Now, for those of you that aren't used to using hotkeys, that might feel a little laborious, but once you get used to the hotkeys, you realize that's a lot faster than moving your mouse around. Camille, you didn't know about that one. Back in the day, and I know you've been around a little while, but back in the day, it was even better because you could do Control Q to get up there. And then there was another hotkey that would select this drop down and you could use your arrows up and down to get to the different items. You can't do that anymore. You have to actually click on that thing. But yeah, you could do Control Q, and then I can't remember what it was, but there was a hotkey to get that drop down and then select like opportunities or whatever if you wanted to search a record different than the contacts. Yeah, that was around at least since 2007. That's when I started. With Keap back in the day. Does Alt down arrow work for the drop down? Let's see. Control Q and then Alt. Well, I'm on a Mac, so it's a little different, but I don't think there's any combination of down arrow buttons that's going to get that drop down. I'm pretty sure you have to actually click on it. I played with that a bunch. Okay. Yeah, see, Camille's been using Keap longer than I have. One of the rare few. And Sam's a longtime user as well. So great. All right. Well, should we hang out and just chill for a bit, or are you guys done? I think we're done with the training. Yeah, I'm happy to hang out, answer questions, and help you guys further. But if you're ready to move on to your next thing for the day, then let's move on. I don't see any reason why the recording wouldn't have worked. It says it's still recording, so as long as we can get a recording, we'll put it out there to you guys. Everybody who registered will get a link to the recording. So we'll get that to you guys ASAP. Could be this evening, probably tomorrow morning. Then you can go through it and put it on slow motion and go through it all and do this again because it was so much fun. Okie dokie. All right. Well, thanks everybody. Appreciate you all being on here and all of you guys saying thank you. You're absolutely welcome. I love this stuff. Love doing it with you. So have a great rest of your day. Certainly reach out if you need further help with your 5-day challenge or really any other campaign. I mean, we've built, if you can dream it, we built it. I mean, over the last 10 years, I've been running an agency doing this for 10 years. I've been using Keap for over 15 years. We have built, I think, just about anything you could ever dream up. So if you need help with your Keap, let us know. We have multiple options, whether it's training through Success Lab or you want us to build it for you, or you just need an answer to a question. Feel free to reach out. We're always happy to help you. Okay. Have a great one. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.